One is a bottle of...
Oh, shit. Get up, come on, get down with the sickness.
Where the hell is the fucking Hall of Fame?
Get up, come on, get down with the sickness.
How dare you say such things about a widow?
Did she eat the corpse?
Get up, come on, get down with the sickness. Open up your hate and let it flow into me. I can see inside you the sickness is rising.
I think he's some kind of darky.
Seems that all that was good has died.
He living in my coattail.
Oh no, the world is a scary place.
Quiet down on the Christmas show, for fuck's sake!
Now that you've woken up the demon in me.
Whose idea was this?
Why?
Get up, come on, get down with the sickness. Mother, get up, come on, get down with the sickness. You
Sit on my face.
fucker, get up, come on, get down with the sickness.
Go, get it.
Open up your hate and let it flow into me. Why can't you just fuck up and die and down with the sickness?
That's it, you.
Fuck you, I'm with the shit, I'm down with the sickness. You're doing to this, you're doing to fucking go and get down with the sickness.
She got out.
Here it comes. Get ready to die. Get ready to fuckers.
Die.
Bryan Alvarez and Dave Meltzer here. We're in Las Vegas. Brock Lesnar did in fact beat Frank Mir in the main event.
He beat him schoolyard bully fashion.
Punch, repeatedly in the face.
Brock Lesnar, who grew up on a struggling dairy farm.
Brock Lesnar, he's like a character in a movie. He lives in the woods. He only has television so that he can watch hunting shows. When he's not training, he's out shooting and killing deer. That guy was put on this earth to do battle.
Then Brock went nutty.
I'm gonna sit down with my friends and family, and hell, I might even get on top of my wife tonight. See y'all later. Brock Lesnar, ladies and gentlemen.
Seriously, how could anyone not find that awesome?
I don't know.
How could anyone not find that awesome?
I can understand.
How could anyone not see that? Everything about that is positive.
I don't know. The part about getting in Frank's face after killing him, I could see how that would rub people the wrong way. Afterwards, when he had to be separated by security, and the doctor approached him, because he had just been in a fight after all, and the doctor approached him, and Brock turned and said, "What do you want?" And I think the doctor turned away at that point. And then he cut that promo.
I just don't understand.
Well,
I don't see. I mean, if Bud Light pulls out, yes, bad. They haven't yet, and we've covered a lot of sponsor related issues with pro wrestling. And usually when people are, like, offended, when sponsors are offended, they pull out, like, immediately. They don't sit and fuck around and wait. And you know what I mean? This would have happened by now. It has not happened yet. We're at Wednesday already. So I don't get it.
Well, I hate debating it for two reasons. First of all, I enjoyed the show, and that's all I care about. So that's the bottom line for me. I thought it was fun.
This is your job.
I realize that. Well, I'm telling you what I thought of the show. It was fun. But I repeat my other point of, if people didn't like it, I can't imagine that there are people who would have come back anyway. I can't imagine there's one person in this nation who thought, this is a good show. I had a lot of fun here watching these fights, but I can't watch it because of Brock Lesnar's attitude.
If that person exists and Brock was never on the show, the same fucking thing would have happened at the next show with somebody else. There's always going to be somebody trash talking.
Yeah.
There's always going to be someone acting like an idiot after a fight. It just always happens. If it doesn't happen at the next show, it's going to happen at the show after. If it doesn't happen at the show after that, it's going to happen at the show after that, or the next time Brock fights. Somebody's going to go nutty.
Remember when Koscheck beat Diego? I think it was Diego.
I can think of 100 examples
Koscheck
in
won a
fighting.
fight and, like, threw his both arms out wide and went, woo!
What about well, it was a different show, but Nate Diaz with the triangle. Actually, no, it was UFC. Nate Diaz with the triangle flipping off the crowd. Why didn't that set the sport back 10 years? Why didn't that slow its momentum?
Don't know.
Because this shit don't matter.
Yeah.
Now, let me ask you this at least.
All right.
Why are we still talking about this? For fuck's sake. All right, let's go back to this thread. I realize he's not here to defend himself, but that's what this show's all about.
That's the best part, though. That way it's not fair.
Jonathan Snowden, I made the comment that, because people kept talking about how all this pro wrestling behavior of Brock Lesnar, and I was pointing out that it's not pro wrestling behavior. People are calling it pro wrestling behavior because Brock fucking Lesnar did it. People bury sponsors, people fucking yell at people after sporting events, and Snowden here, let me find this. He took me to task. Of course, because, I don't follow a lot of sports. Jesus Christ, it's going to take me forever to find this. It's fucking... Let's see. There's about 8,000 threads involving this fucking thing right here.
Can you do a member search for Jonathan Snowden?
Well, we've got 18,000 threads that all are talking about the same fucking thing. Anyway, he essentially said that shit like this doesn't happen in every sport. You follow sports way more than I do.
Mm-hmm.
Do things like what happened with Brock Lesnar post-game, post-fight, you tell me these things never happen in any other sport?
They happen.
Guys don't go nutty in football after a play? Or basketball?
All the time, actually.
Or rugby, or soccer, or hockey?
All the damn time. The Patriots dancing on the Chargers logo. That's not that long ago. The fucking every Giants fan who celebrated their Super Bowl by hoisting 18-1 stickers. I'm getting off on a tangent here, but their point was not that our team won, it was that somebody else's team lost. That was the same deal. I can remember in 1994, this guy named Deion Sanders used to play for Atlanta. He moved on to San Francisco, and when San Francisco came back to Atlanta, he scored and his team won by like 50 points. And there was Atlanta's brand new stadium, and or relatively new stadium, and all those reporters gathered around, and here's Deion in his flashy suit. He's wearing like a suit jacket, bare-chested underneath, and he makes sure everyone's listening, and he says, "This is my house. I built this place." That was forever ago, I remember that. So, yeah, it's not new. It's not important.
Well, just thought we got that out of the way. I should call him right now, actually.
Do it.
But, now you're in a debating mood?
I'm in the mood to wake someone up at
Here's what he said. I wrote, this is not pro wrestling stuff. This is stuff that happens in all sports. He says, it doesn't. We've gone over how 99% of pro athletes handle the post-game interaction with their opponents. The fact that you keep saying that kind of behavior is typical of all sports doesn't make it true. I think it is fairly obvious you don't watch sports.
Well, he's got you there.
Well, that's true, but this post-game shit happens all the time. Because I don't watch sports, and that's all I see is when clips of this shit happens. You can't tell me it doesn't happen. Anyway. This person said maybe it happens all the time in gymnastics. Actually, no! That may be the one sport where it doesn't. Let's move on here before I fucking get really worked up. I'm just all hot right now. It's been a long time since I cut a good promo on the board.
Ass, 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 ass. Ass, 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 ass. Ass, 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 ass. Ass, ass, ass. Satchel ass.
Yay!
That was a good song.
Jesse Pratt is the new king of songs. He has done a number of these Satchel Ass songs.
I hope that song is titled Ass, 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 Ass.
Ask the noob.
That's better.
What could be better than that? The Great American Bash, 1989. 1989, everybody.
20 years ago to the month.
It was called the Glory Days.
Yeah, that's not what they call it now.
That's what they called it then.
Yeah.
And that, of course, is the Glory Days, when you could still call the Bash great and American.
Right.
No more.
The show opened. They were from Baltimore. And
Yep.
for local flavor, they showed quiet horse pastures.
Horses were grazing.
Yes.
We don't have this anymore.
This is how they opened the show. And then it was like, I forget what the hell you said, but they went to the shithole that is downtown Baltimore where the show was actually taking place.
It opened, everybody, with the finals of the $15,000 Triple Crown Battle Royal. Now, not being a great historian, I don't know what the semifinals of the Triple Crown Battle Royal were.
I want to know what the Triple Crown represents.
No, I'm just wondering, this is the finals.
Yeah.
And there were like 30 guys in the match. So was this like a 10,000-man tournament?
Presumably.
And it cut itself down
I
to
believe they were saying you just won a bunch of battle royals to get in. So, presumably, the other battle royals were the semifinals.
This was the main event. The main event of the show actually was War Games, and so they had 2 rings. And here are the rules. I make fun of Vince Russo a lot, but this was before Vince Russo had ever, I think, even done a radio show in this business. The rules were, there were a bunch of men in the ring.
14.
14 in the first ring. In order to be eliminated, you had to be thrown into the second ring. All the guys in the second ring would have another battle royal. And the winner of that was the guy that threw all the other guys out of that ring, a traditional battle royal rule match. The winner of the first ring then faced the winner of the second ring, and that determined the winner of the $15,000 Triple Crown Battle Royal. Now, the first thing we saw, I don't even know if I should mention this, because everybody gets on Granny for things they construe to be racial. And I am not construing this to be racial, but this was WCW. They had a history of problems, many problems, in fact. They lost shitloads of dollars in racial discrimination suits. Teddy Long was watching this match. Now, let's just state the facts. Teddy Long is a black man.
Right.
They put him in the shadows in a black suit.
Yes.
Now, am I lying in saying that the only thing that you could see was what was visible of his white shirt underneath and the glare off of his glasses?
We need to remind everyone, he was in heavy, heavy shadow.
Yes.
They cut to this shot for like 5 seconds. At first, I wasn't even sure what I was looking at.
He looked like a Jawa.
And then I slowly realized it's a hominid.
It's a Jawa from Star Wars.
It's a biped of some sort. And then Jim Ross identified, very casually and matter-of-factly said, Teddy Long looking on. And I thought, Jesus, that's the best seat you could get?
I could not figure out how they identified the man.
I don't know.
All you could see was the top part of his shirt and glare off glasses. This could have been any of 100 men.
1,000,000 men.
Now, before you get on my case about this statement here, the first 2 men eliminated from the Battle Royal just happened to be, coincidentally, the only 2 black guys in the entire match.
Ranger Ross and Ron Simmons. Get them out of here right now.
I'm just telling you what I saw.
This is what occurred, everyone. We are reporting facts.
So they have this match, and Jesus, you've never seen so much juice in 2 rings at the same time.
There was no wellness in WCW in 1989.
No, everybody was fucking enormous, and they're throwing each other around, and it came down to Sid and Bryan Pillman in the first ring.
No squeegees.
And a bunch of geeks in the second ring. And Sid, when you look at what Sid looked like in 1989, Frankenstein, and then you consider that he looked like that all the way through 2001, and may still look like that today, The fact that he's still alive and Brian Pillman is dead is shocking, actually. But it's true. And I think there were only 3 guys in this entire match who had passed away.
Brian Pillman, Terry Gordy.
Yeah?
I'm forgetting now. I remember we did not know if Bill Irwin's still alive.
Yeah.
He is?
I should look that one up, actually.
All right. There was another guy. I can't remember now.
Anyway, the point was, we could watch some WWE shows from the mid-'90s, and half the people on the screen are dead.
Yes.
And I was just amazed that, Jesus, looking back at this...
Eddie Gilbert.
Eddie Gilbert, that's right. That's right. So, Bill Irwin. Go to Wikipedia.
Never been wrong.
No, never has. For other users, see William Irwin.
That seems so wrong.
Barney Irwin, wrestler, who was better known as Bill Irwin.
I like Barney Irwin.
1954. He's still alive. He's only 55 for crying out loud.
Okay. He was a wrestler in the 80s. Lots of them died.
That's true. So anyway, they had this match, and it came down to Frankenstein and his partner Dan Spivey. And they were supposed to wrestle to determine who got the $50,000. And, Teddy Long jumped in the ring and announced that they were partners, they would not fight, they were splitting the $50,000. That was the end of that. Now, we talked a little bit about Teddy Long earlier, and I was gobsmacked when I saw Teddy Long on this show. Missing teeth, bald eagle mullet. He looks younger today than he looked in 1989.
Yes,
which was in fact 20 years ago.
Teddy Long may be Benjamin Button. He may be getting younger.
He is getting younger.
It was astounding. He looked,
Jesus Christ, he looked old and horrible.
He looked bad
on
in the ring, and then they cut backstage to a close-up interview with Gordon Soley, and holy fuck, he looked horrible. He had no teeth on his upper jaw, which was better than the teeth he had in his lower jaw, which were all snaggletooth. So he's had a lot of work done, but it's paid off.
It has paid off.
He had that wedding with Crystal, so that would have to be fun.
I also don't know because, he was wearing a suit, but from looking at his neck, I was sitting there going,
he's in better shape now.
Are you telling me Teddy Long is on the juice? No, I thought he may be on the juice.
I see.
He had this big, thick neck with veins popping out of it.
It's entirely possible.
I was like, what is going on here? Anyway, that was that.
So, yeah, it was a wacky opening match battle royal. Outside of the strange physiques, the relatively low body count, and
relatively low body fat.
And relatively low body fat, and the goofy rules, it was your typical battle royal.
They plugged a Danger Zone video cassette, a 60-minute compilation of craziness hosted in part by Missy Hyatt. Available in VHS and beta, by the way.
And I reviewed this same commercial once. I forget what it was. Some old NWA WCW was watching, and I actually got when you ordered the video cassette, you also got the swimsuit calendar with Jimmy Garvin in his swimsuit looking all hairy and sweaty. And I mentioned this review in the newsletter, and I actually got an angry email from Missy Hyatt, not knowing that I had her in a bikini. So, for the record, the swimsuit calendar also had Missy Hyatt in a bikini.
Well, it did say the men and women.
I think it just said the men and Missy.
I don't know
what's Precious, maybe.
Let's move on.
All right.
So then we had the Brian Pillman Bill Irwin match. Now, Brian Pillman in 1989. Let's think about this. The 80s everybody was giant, gassed up dudes, lumbering Godzilla-like monsters. There were obviously exceptions to that sort of thing. But Pillman was like the extreme exception. He was like the high-flying young babyface. Brian
Pillman was the Evan Bourne of 1989.
Brian Pillman on this show, if you took Brian Pillman out of this show and put him in WWE today, as God is my witness, the only guy more muscular and with that little body fat is Dave Batista.
Who's not on the show.
That's right.
He's out right now.
He would have been the most muscular
and leanest
guy on the entire show. John Morrison doesn't have the same universe of muscularity of Brian Pillman.
And Triple H wasn't nearly as lean.
Triple H is much, I don't want to say fatter, but his body fat is nowhere near.
He's smoother than Brian Pillman was here.
And same with John Cena.
Yes.
Brian Pillman, I guess per the standards of 1989, would have had the best physique of anybody in WWE today. Now, granted, he was on all sorts of shit, but it's just amazing to look back at this era.
It turns out that shit does work.
So anyway, they had a match, and it was horrible. I shouldn't say horrible.
It was boring.
It was very boring.
It went too long, and it was 90% of it was just Bill Irwin having the heat and hitting stomps and elbows and choking.
And then Pillman made a wacky comeback, which involved a jumping headbutt. Now
when we say
I'm not talking a Chris Benoit diving headbutt off the top rope.
Oh, no.
This was the Jimmy Snuka, stand on 2 feet on the mat, grab the guy's head, jump into the air, and then put your forehead on theirs.
Right.
As soon as he did this, Jim Ross called him a real high-risk kid.
Yes.
A jumping headbutt!
It's a risk.
And the finish, which I guess was very high risk back here in the late 80s, Bill Irwin throws him into the other ring, and he goes to get him. And Nick Patrick's like, you can't do that. So Bill Irwin starts going back into the main ring, and he raises his hand, I guess thinking, I have won! I threw him into the other ring! As he is doing so, Brian Pillman climbs onto the top rope in the second ring. And the announcers are like, he can't possibly jump that far. It is, of course, like 1 foot between rings. But he does. He leaps the extra 1 foot, does a high cross, which quite frankly was pretty shitty, and pinned Bill Irwin. Amazing battle.
And the fans?
This is why you cannot look back in time and rate matches. Because these matches at the time, I'm sure were like really good. Well, not the Sid match we're about to talk about.
You it was not.
But Jesus, you cannot look back at these matches through 2009 eyes and try to give them the same ratings they deserved in 1989.
The only thing you can really rate now is the crowd reaction. And the crowd was very quiet for most of this. We clearly heard Bill Irwin shouting various insults like, come on, Brian, fly around.
Yes.
Quite the witty man. The best was when he said, fly out of here, and he threw him out of the ring. But when Brian Pillman hit this high cross and he got the win, Baltimore exploded.
Yes.
They enjoyed themselves.
They had a good time.
They got what they wanted out of this match. So, didn't look like the best thing to our eyes, but for their audience, it was what they had to give.
Paul Heyman, with hair and a mullet. Literally, he actually had all of his hair.
Yeah.
And a mullet.
And a tennis racket, actually.
He had a problem with his cell phone, which in 1989 was, in fact, a foreign
48 pounds,
object because it was the size of an anvil. He does this promo, and he's talking about how in 1986 he was a photographer, and he saw the famous scaffold match where Jim Cornette took a bump and blew out his knee, and he said he knew the knee had never healed, and he was going to go after it, and when he was done with Cornette was going to be, he'd never walk again. He'd be like a hobble around like a Vietnam vet, he said. And I, by the way, just recap that 100% from memory. I did not look at my notes at all, and I can guarantee you that when I run down the first segment of SmackDown with CM Punk, Jeff Hardy, and Teddy Long, I will have to look back at my notes. I don't know why. I don't know what this means, except that guys back then could fucking cut some promos that made you think.
Yeah. He also, I just remember the line where he said, Jim Cornette, I am obsessed with your demise.
To which Gordon Soley stoically made no comment whatsoever.
Soley was holding the mic as Heyman cut this promo, and he was ranting and raving, and he also said that he was going to guarantee he'd be the best manager in wrestling because after tonight, Cornette would be out of the picture. So he's made this vow to end a man's career and or life, and he walks away, and Gordon Soley does not react in any way.
No.
He moves on with the show. He introduces the next segment. Yes. Professional.
The dynamic fucking dudes. The dynamic fucking dudes against the skyscrapers.
For most of you listening,
Johnny Ace and Shane Douglas.
We're not born in 1989. This is a real team. John Laurinaitis, the current talent head in WWE, and Shane Douglas, the current farmer tan guy in TNA. They were I put this in finger quotes, hot young tag team called the Dynamic Dudes.
The Dynamic Dudes.
That was their name. They came out in Dayglow orange and neon green.
Yes.
They had frisbees.
Yes.
Sadly, this is not one of the entrances where they had skateboards but didn't ride them.
Yes.
That was the ultimate. We did not get that. We got frisbees.
We got them pulling. It was actually Johnny Ace.
He goes.
There was a fat little boy. How old do you think he was?
Yeah, I think 7 or 8 was your guess.
7 or 8 years old.
Around there. And Johnny Ace, who is, as Jim Ross noted, is 6'4" and very muscular, struggled to hoist this lad over the barrier.
It was like a 500-pound deadlift to get this fucker over the guardrail.
He may as well have been trying to hoist a young elephant seal. So he got him over. He stands 5 feet away.
Not even that, 3 feet.
And he takes a Frisbee.
And assaults the kid, quite frankly.
He tossed a Frisbee as lightly as you possibly could over this distance. The child barely caught it.
Yes.
I don't even know how to explain this. It was funny. That's all I can say.
And then Ace points at Shane Douglas, who's on the other side of the kid. The kid looks completely confused. Ace points again dramatically. The kid turns around and sees Douglas with his hands open, and he throws the Frisbee at Shane Douglas. That was their entrance.
That was their entrance. There was one more note here. They jumped up on opposite turnbuckles. They grabbed their Dayglow orange shorts and ripped them off to reveal hot pink trunks, and every man in the building booed. This was a failure.
So they get in the ring, and out comes Spivey and Sid Vicious. Dan Spivey and Sid Vicious. They had this tag team match, and the most notable thing, I think Dave actually might have been at this show. I think Dave and Mike Tenay actually both might have been at the show. And I know that probably a lot of you, not a lot of you, but I'm sure maybe some of you, maybe many of you even, watched this live and watched. I did not watch a ton of NWA in 1989 when I was 13 years old. But what did people see in Sid? He got in the ring, and he was horrible. I mean, this is not even looking back with 2009 eyes.
No.
This is like, it is inconceivable that any human being could not have seen how horrible Sid Vicious was. Yet every time he tagged out, the people loudly chanted, "We want Sid." Why?
The only thing I can figure is that they knew he sucked, and they being the company, not the fans, so they had Dan Spivey do all the wrestling until Sid was standing in the corner, looking big, looking scary, and having that weird psycho charisma thing he had.
Good theory, but wrong.
Well, then they would chant, "We want Sid, we want Sid." He would tag in, he would hit a move, and then tag right back out.
Unfortunately, you were incorrect, because there was a period where he got in with Shane Douglas. He put him in the corner, he clutched his wrist, Shane Douglas ran at full speed to the other side of the ring and bonked into the turnbuckle. And then Sid got down on his knees and gave Shane Douglas a kidney claw.
I do recall the kidney claw.
A kidney claw. You people wanted a Sid kidney claw?
That's what they wanted.
That explains, actually, how WCW managed to survive for another 13 or 12 years.
They had very low standards.
Jesus Christ.
So they had this match where Sid was ungodly bad. Johnny Ace was pretty horrible. Dan Spivey was passable for a big lumbering 80s guy. And Douglas, I think for the most part, looked okay. Don't recall him screwing anything up terribly. And then they did their wacky finish, and Dan Spivey delivered the worst powerbomb I think I've ever seen, and it was the end.
It was an early Gonzo bomb. In fact,
yeah.
I should have made mention of this in the Mitsuharu Misawa bio, as horrible as that would be. But in fact, he lifted him up, kind of. Johnny Ace was upside down, and then he just dropped him right on his fucking head. And that was the end.
Yes.
And it was not meant to be like that. This was a true fuck-up.
Yeah, and they just went with it. And he was doing power bombs in the Battle Royal, too. They looked barely any better.
No.
So,
holy
I take it back.
This was bad.
I take it back. He did not look passable for an 80s lumbering big man. He was bad, too.
We got the Cornette promo on Paul E. hyping up the tuxedo match. Never thought two men could make me want to see a tuxedo match, but they did. Actually, to be honest, they made me want to see their match. I couldn't give a fuck about it. In fact, I didn't really want to see the tuxedo stips, but what the hell. So, anyway, they had the match. It was like a mix of good and bad. Psychology was good. The heat was awesome. Paulie selling was horrific. Paulie doing offense was horrifying.
I was going to say, his selling was much better than his offense.
Jesus. He threw powder in Cornette's face to start the match, and then started hitting him with his phone, which was the size of an anvil, and then got the heat. And then Cornette made a big comeback with these awesome fucking right hands.
Cornette channeled Jerry Lawler there.
Yeah.
I know.
Cornette's always been able to throw a great punch.
I guess he just doesn't do it very often, but But yeah, I know how much that would mean to him to say it. But yes, he turned into Jerry Lawler here. He did the old school Memphis no-sell, and he started laying in right hands, and they were great. And, we could argue about whether Cornette probably is a better manager or which is a better announcer or which is a better booker. There's no question. Jim Cornette is the better wrestler.
And then Paul got more powder at the end, just like he'd done at the finish. But Cornette kicked it into his eyes and tore off his pants for the pin. This was just so fucking awesome. This match made me want to wrestle again. Just to do the powder spot, where I get the heat on somebody with powder, and at the end I get the powder, and they kick it into my face, and I sell all wacky, and they pin me.
I just want to do Paulie's, I just buried him, but I just want to do his wacky run to the back trying to hide his underwear.
Well, go for it. I don't want to be around.
We'll work that in somehow.
Anyway, this is great.
It was much better than the Sid match.
We had the Steiners versus the Varsity Club. I'm actually going to go and see how long this match was live.
We saw about 6 minutes, 7.
It seemed to go about 7 minutes, yes.
Yeah, it was good. It was a tornado match. It was all 4 guys in the ring at once, and they had a lot of brawling going on, and Rick Steiner busted out the overhead belly to belly, which I think he was the only guy doing at the time, at least in this country. And they all worked hard, and the finish was the Varsity Club tried to set up some kind of double team, but it ended up with Rick in Kevin Sullivan's arms, and Scott came off the top rope, and they all kind of dogpiled on him and won, and everyone went crazy and was happy. Yeah, it was fun for what it was.
Oh, wow, 4 minutes and 22 seconds.
Oh, so
Jesus Christ, the Jim Cornette match went 2 minutes longer than the Steiners and the Varsity Club. Wow. Texas Tornado match, both Steiners pinned Sullivan, and that was good stuff.
It was Scott Steiner with the mullet, the black hair, yellow trunks, the good old days.
I wonder if there are kids today that watch this and go, is that the same Scott Steiner from WCW or from TNA?
It's hard to reconcile the two. They had the same voice.
Then we had Sting and Great Muta. This also seemed to go very fast, and live, it only went 8:40, so there you go. 8 minutes, 40 seconds was the time, and I guess the only thing that I really noticed here was that if you put 1989 Sting in a pair of jean shorts, it's John Cena.
That is true.
It was uncanny. They move the same. Sting even did that goofy sitting bulldog face buster that Cena does. He punches exactly the same.
Mm-hmm.
It was creepy.
I always get annoyed when there's a new athlete on the scene in any given sport, and people say, he's the next blank. And the biggest reason is because he's the next blank is because they happen to look exactly the same. And people said that about John Cena. I thought I realized they're both muscular, they're both blonde, they both have crew cuts, but there's probably a better match somewhere. But no, they wrestled a very similar way. Sting's punches were not so much punches as they were forearms to the ear area. The vast majority of his offense is just stuff that cannot be fucked up and mixed in with power moves.
He did throw far more drop kicks.
He did do more athletic stuff, the drop kicks, even the Stinger Splash. He opened it. Muta was in the other ring, and they had the 2 rings set up for War Games, and Muta was sort of stalling over there, and so Sting did a cool dive over both ropes onto him. I don't see John Cena pulling that one out anytime soon.
No, probably not. So
match was fun though. You know last week after the Pillman-Irwin match that you can't really judge things 20 years later, and this match was still fun in 2009. So
sure,
sometimes you can.
Well, I mean, the rating it got then would be significantly different, I'm sure, than the rating I would give it today.
That's probably true.
It was maybe 2.5 stars, this 8-minute battle in 2009. But I also liked Muta doing this deal off the top, and Jim Cornette goes, karate chop! And then he says, or a judo chop, I should say.
Yeah, I caught that too.
That was so awesome. This was 1989, where people thought they did chops in judo, but I guess not in karate.
But not in karate, no. Although they do karate kicks in karate, and every kick a Japanese man throws is a karate kick.
Of course.
Of course.
So anyway, there you go. Crowd chanted Muta when he did some of his cool stuff, and he blew the mist, hit the ref, and hit the moonsault. Second referee hit the ring. Sting kicked out, and then Sting hit a bridging back suplex, and the ref counted the pin, ruled him the winner, but I don't know, it was like, there was all this controversy, and they showed a replay, and Muta took the belt and ran off, and then they just cut to Lex Luger. It was straight out of TNA.
Yeah, it was...
I was like, can we have some sort of explanation, or is there a follow-up later in the show?
Well, the fun thing was, they showed this replay, and in this replay, you can clearly see that Sting has both shoulders up, and Muta has one shoulder up.
Yeah.
So there shouldn't have been a pin at all. And then Jim Ross watches it and says, well, you can't really tell there.
That was the end!
And that was the end of the match.
And then they cut back to Lex Luger, who...
Lex got a promo.
I initially wrote, he looks just like a young Randy the Ram, but the more I watched him, he looks remarkably like Triple H.
Sure.
If we had when we get a Luger versus Sting match, unfortunately the similarities end with the physical similarities.
Yeah, I was going to say.
I'm afraid that Hunter is
a better wrestler than Lex Luger.
Yeah, probably several hundred times better.
Although this was, as I recall, there was a time there in the late 80s, early 90s where Lex, tried.
Well, yeah.
And then after a while, he did not. So this will not be the horrible Lex Luger, or at least not the most horrible.
Steamboat and Luger. This was one of the best Luger matches I've ever seen.
Yeah?
I watched this and I thought, when did this guy stop caring?
That is I guess, the golden question.
It appeared he cared during this match. He was working really hard. Mm-hmm. He was a perfectly acceptable pro wrestler, at least per the standards of Luger we've come to know in the last 15 years.
Sure.
And bumped all over the place and this and that, and got backdropped into the second ring of all things. Actually, that was Steamboat that went in the second ring, but still.
Luger threw the backdrop. That deserves some credit.
That's right. He went to get a chair. Oh, the gimmick was that it was supposed to be a no DQ match, but Luger said, I refuse to have that match. I will only have a regular match. And Steamboat, being a good guy, said, fine, I'll take it. So, of course, Luger was the first guy to go get the chair, and it got bonked into his head. And then Steamboat beat him with it for the DQ. And apparently there had been an incident where Luger hit Steamboat with a chair in Fort Bragg. And so Steamboat getting DQ'd and beating the shit out of Luger and not getting the title, everybody still loved because he got his revenge. This was back when pro wrestling was awesome.
Yeah. Everything made sense and storylines were simple and easy to follow. The real highlight, I'm afraid, actually happened before the match when the announcer said he was introducing Steamboat and he said, being led to the ring by his beautiful family. And out came Bonnie and young Richie, and then he announced Ricky Steamboat, and Ricky Steamboat came out, and this was not announced, but he was also accompanied by a lizard. And then on close-up camera view, it became apparent the lizard was wearing a jacket, a studded leather jacket. So this was a tremendous entrance, all things considered. And they had their fun little match, and I was trying to think of who you can compare Luger to. I don't really know, because he was a guy who, his stuff didn't look great, but he cared. His intensity was awesome. He knew when to do everything. And, it was like, this guy is really good, and he looks, of course, like a god carved out of marble. And of course he was a huge star. And
a man on a throne with a large beard?
Sure. You totally caught me off guard there, but
God? If I were going to carve God, he would be on a throne with a big beard.
I didn't mean God, I meant a god.
Oh, I see.
I have an important letter I apparently left out because I'm a bad radio person. But regardless, he seemed to be a person who would be the biggest star in the sport forever, and things didn't quite work out that way. But he was great here, and this is a tremendously fun little match.
And his beautiful family. Here comes Bob and his horse-faced wife.
his plain housewife and his ugly little kids. Sadly, by the way, they announced his beautiful family. They should have also announced accompanied by his gorgeous mullet.
The Freebirds did a promo wearing these wild Oakley sunglasses straight out of,
the 80s.
Well, 1989, actually. I'm not going to go into what they said or anything like that. I'm just going to say this was a pro wrestling promo.
How it's done.
There is no other way to explain it. It was giant, jacked up, somewhat hairy dudes wearing horrible outfits and sunglasses, yelling and screaming in an angry manner.
They were threatening people.
This was like in the Encarta. The whatever the online dictionary of choice is when you order a computer nowadays. This would be the MPEG that you would see if you looked up pro wrestling promo. These men being angry.
Yes, they were talking about how great they were and how their opponents were doomed. And it was great. And then it was followed by their opponent's promo. It was first the Midnight Express, Bobby and Stan Lane. Eaton, of course, said nothing. Stan Lane spoke for a while. He was very plain. Frankly, it was very dull. I don't know where Jim Cornette was. And then suddenly, Steve Williams came flying through like an airplane. And he looked at the camera and waved. He kept right on going through. And he came back and he cut one of the most literally insane promos I've ever seen. He said he was a bird crusher. That's why he was flying around. He was looking for free birds to crush. He said he wished he had some bug spray to kill the wild Samoyeds. And he said that Terry Gordy was the toughest guy around, but he was even tougher. And it was not really, it was entertaining, I guess, but mostly I just thought, what a weirdo. And then the Road Warriors came in, and thankfully they had a classic Road Warriors promo, and it was great for what it was. It could not match the Freebirds promo, frankly, but it was still good stuff. It ended with Hawk being all crazy and saying that they were going to take out their opponents, and then they were going to go after their families. So, yeah, the bad guys won the promo war, clearly.
So we had War Games. War Games, everybody. Some of you may have watched Lethal Lockdown the last couple of years. I never even watched these War Games matches, like, live. Like, I saw a few of them, but I mean, even I, having limited knowledge of War Games, knew how badly TNA fucked it up. So imagine me watching this one. Mm-hmm. Jesus Christ. To see a War Games done correctly.
Yeah.
It was ridiculous. Like, the heels won the coin toss, so they started out with the 2-on-1 advantage, and then they were beating the shit out of a babyface when another babyface made the save, so the people always popped. Then it was a disadvantage again, and they got beaten down. Then somebody came in, and TNA fucked that up. Mm-hmm. They fucked up every fucking Lethal Lockdown they've ever done.
Yeah.
This is so easy.
Yeah.
I knew it was easy, and then I watched this match, and it made me even more upset. I just imagine, like, Russo watching this on 24/7 and being baffled.
Ah, it's so predictable.
It's so predictable. How ridiculous. Jesus, the babyfaces should have had the advantage first. And, so anyway, they had a War Games match. It was just, everything about it was awesome. We had Heyman outside with his giant cell phone trying to shove it through the cage.
It would not fit.
Yeah, it's the size of a laptop nowadays. And, Terry Gordy got press slammed, military pressed, actually, into the cage 8 times by Steve Williams.
This was so much more impressive than, say, Hogan slamming Andre. I am trying to think of a more impressive feat of strength I've seen in a pro wrestling match.
Yeah?
It's a very short list. Terry Gordy's really big.
He's huge. He was it had to be 330,
I'm sure he was, somewhere around there, and Williams got him over his head and pressed him 8 reps.
Yeah.
Jesus Christ.
This is a body, people. I don't know people that have never, like, tried to lift a human are aware of this, but
the center of gravity is not...
Not just that, a bar is like a bar. It's a stationary object with an easy thing to hold on to that's not going to wiggle around.
Correct.
This was a 330-pound jiggly man.
Breathing.
Ridiculous.
Moving.
Ridiculous strength.
This was absurd.
We had Hayes teasing he'd be in next, but of course he waited to be the last guy in.
It was so perfect, because he spent the entire match teasing he'd be next, or when it finally came down to he was the last guy, they cut outside, and there's Heyman and Hayes, and Hayes like, I gotta go in? And Heyman held up his notes to indicate there was no one left, and said, you gotta go in. And Hayes said, damn. So the time ran out, and he runs in, he DDTs all the good guys, who have all been in there for, at least 2 minutes, or in Eden's case, close to 20, and he hits a DDT in every guy, and then he runs over to the empty ring, and he begins to dance.
Yeah.
Fucking awesome. It made him... Even on his own team, he was the biggest dick. Because at least guys like Garvin and Gordy have been in there fighting for a while. But here's Hayes who comes in, he is active for 20 seconds, and then immediately assumes the stub position. This painted him as an asshole. He was the greatest heel I've ever seen, doing something so ridiculously simple. Yes. And, of course, that set up the storyline going into it. And I've forgotten this because it's been 20 years, but Jim Ross did an awesome job of explaining. The biggest linchpin of this whole match was Road Warrior Hawk had been beaten up by all 5 guys in the bad guy team and almost taken out. And this is his chance for revenge. So he was the last hero the last babyface, and he comes in and immediately climbs to the top rope and just starts clotheslining everyone and runs wild. And that was everything. It was all so beautifully simple. They just had all 10 guys brawl to the ring for a while, and then after a bit, Hawk and Garvin just went over to the other ring by themselves, and Hawk put him in a hangman's neck breaker thing. A ref ran in, Garvin submitted, the end. The ref was Tommy Young, who, for those of you that have never watched Tommy Young, he's awesome! He's the best ref ever. Just thought I'd throw that in there. Yeah. So, anyway, after the babyfaces left, the heels slammed the door shut, held it closed, beat the shit out of Animal, and then Hawk finally opened the door and made the save, and, 2 thumbs up to War Games! Yeah, two giant thumbs up. Amazing how cool it is when you do it right! Just Bobby Eaton's right hand is worth watching. Just sit down and watch him punch people. Animal came in, and it was funny because you knew what he wanted to do, but it took him forever to, you watch the match now, and the whole thing's clearly choreographed, and they go through an 8-move spot, and then a 6-move spot, and then a 7-move spot. Angelo came in, and he wanted to do a shoulder block over both sets of ropes, from one ring into the other. And it took him forever to get the guys into position because they had not pre-planned this. So that made it better.
Yeah.
He finally hit this giant shoulder block from one ring into the other, and he hit one of the Samoans, took a giant bump, and it was great.
So anyway, that was great, and then of course that led to the main event, which was Ric Flair and Terry Funk in. Actually, this was not the I Quit match. The I Quit match came later, but they built it up perfectly during this match. Actually, a wild brawl. I had to think about this for a while, but Terry Funk, who was in fantastic shape, 45 fucking years old during this match.
Really?
Yeah.
Wow.
He looked phenomenal,
and frankly, probably clean.
I would guess so, having looked at everybody else on this show. If he was on something, he was on very, very little. So he looked great, and they had a hell of a match. The only complaint I have, and this has nothing to do with anything that was either of their doings, or even WCW or NWA, WWE is now PG, so they fucking, what do you call it?
Black and white. Whenever there was
monotone,
sure.
A monotone screen, black and white. Every time there was, actually, I can't say every time there was a close up because
at random after there was blood. I guess the rule is when there is blood, sometimes you must go black and white.
Randomly black and white.
It was fairly random.
Yeah, and
that got annoying quickly. It would have if they had just. I don't know if it would have been less annoying if they left it in black and white, but it was more noticeable when they kept coming in and out, and when there were times you were like, well, why is this not black and white right now? I can see, I think, the actual wound of where this blood's coming from.
A couple of good close-ups of blood, not in black and white, and then a couple of long shots in black and white where you couldn't even see the blood.
No, they were both bleeding profusely. Ric Flair had blood from his forehead that had soaked his elbow.
Yeah.
That's a lot of blood.
It was just a great fucking brawl, and the finish saw Funk go for the spinning toe hold, and Flair did a reversal. You should have seen this reversal, by the way.
He basically tripped him, and Funk just went to his belly.
He grabbed his leg, and Funk fell down.
Yes.
And then he went for the figure four, and Funk rolled him up. They were actually playing off the finishes of a number of different matches in each guy's career. It was how Funk beat Jack Briscoe, and then of course the Flair going for the figure four and getting cradled was a finish of many of his matches. So they played off that, and so Funk rolled him up with the cradle, and Flair reversed it into a cradle of his own, and that was also another clunky reversal, but it was 89. Everybody loved it.
If you watch this, you would not think, boy, that's some great wrestling right there. But it was so effective with the story that it didn't matter that their execution was C-.
So yeah, Flair reversed it, got the cradle for the pin. Everybody went nuts. He punched Gary Hart, and then Muta hit the ring and blew the mist in his eyes. And, of course, Ric Flair takes a bump for mist. That was awesome. And crowd chanted, "We want Sting," so out he came, John Cena in face paint. And they cleared the ring, and then they had another brawl and chased the guys in the back, and another brawl, and just a lot of brawling.
They brawled for a long time. So long, in fact, that Ross and Caudle were constantly trying to end the show. But they couldn't because the brawl kept coming over to interrupt them. And then finally Flair came over, and between the blood and Muta's face paint, he looked like Christmas Flair. He cut his promo on basically just... Before the match, he cut a very subdued Flair promo. It was his first match back from his neck injury. He was not sure, frankly, if he was 100%. He was not sure if he should have taken a warm-up match first, but he felt in his heart he was 120% he was going to win. And then he came out afterwards, and then he was in full crazy Flair mode, and he was screaming at Terry Funk about how they were just getting started. He made sure to go get Sting. He said, "I have not said this in 10 years." And he turned to Sting and he said, "Thank you." And then he turned back to the camera and went off on Terry Funk some more. Then he said, "Woo," and Sting said, "Ow," and it ended, and it was awesome.
Great American Bash 89, everybody.
A great match, and I mentioned this earlier in the Bash report, but I'm pretty sure that a finishing sequence of toe hold, to figure four, to small package, to reverse small package, 4 moves. I believe that was the first spot of the match that was more than 2 moves long.
Yeah.
It was all just so very, very simple. It was, I'll try to pile drive you, you backdrop me. Okay, do something else.
Probably called in the ring, I'm
sure 100%
we'll ask him tomorrow, actually.
I'm sure 100% of it was called in the ring except the finish. And it was, I'll chop you, you chop me. They had a chop fest, they beat the hell out of each other, and then because Terry Funk was Terry Funk and because Ric Flair was the dirtiest player in the game, they had an eye rake fest.
Yeah.
Which I enjoyed profusely.
Especially that Funk just decided not to sell, and of course Flair sold like crazy.
Yes.
So anyway, that's the show.
And my one final note here, I forgot to mention this earlier. The finish of Steamboat Luger was Steamboat grabbing a chair, whacking Luger several times, getting disqualified. I have never seen one wrestler touch another with a chair so gently as Steamboat did here. And the crowd went ballistic. And everyone loved it, and it totally worked. Wrestling in the 80s was better.
Well, I have actually been lighter because I had hit Richie Magnet with a chair. And
must have missed that one.
I wanted to make sure that I didn't actually touch him at all.
Because he's scary.
There was one time where I had to drop kick a chair into his face, and as he was taking the bump, the chair fell on his face and gashed him open horrendously. And the next day he had to fly to get the Salesman of the Year award for Napa.
Yeah.
And he had to be all stitched up. He'd spent the night in the emergency room. Well, not the night, but he'd had to go to the emergency room. So from that point forward, if I ever had to hit Richie with a chair, I'd put Steamboat to shame.
I don't doubt that for a second.
Steamboats look better, I might add.
I'm sure Steamboats look better, and I'm sure he got a much bigger reaction.
That's undoubtedly true. We've got to talk about some World Championship Wrestling.
Yeah, and we don't mean the dying days, the sad days of the late 90s and the early 2000s. No, the heyday of World Championship Wrestling.
Oh, the World Championship Wrestling we watched this evening.
1986.
I was 11 years old when this aired.
I was also 11, I guess, and this was like 6 months before I had really started watching wrestling. I may have seen a match or two before then.
We watched the Great American Bash 89, and that was a really good show. Some good wrestling, and I don't know, I watched this TV show, and boy did I learn a lot from watching this television show here about how bad televised wrestling is nowadays.
It sucks.
Especially like TNA.
Well, yes, that's not new.
Let's talk about this show, and I'll give you my thoughts, of which I have many. December 18th, 1986, everybody. Christmas was coming. They were wishing our troops well. Those, I guess, still lingering in Vietnam. I don't know. We had Brody Chase and Tony Zane facing the Rock and Roll Express. This was eye-opening. This opened the show. Of course, the Rock and Roll Express winning the squash match here. But Brody Chase and Tony Zane. Who are these men?
Never heard of him before.
Jobbers.
Tony Zane looked like Mike Awesome's retarded brother.
That's a terrible thing to say.
I hope Mike Awesome doesn't actually have a retarded brother. That made me feel bad.
Brody Chase and Tony Zane were like picture-perfect jobbers. Like, one was really fat. One of them was a skinny fat guy. There was a lot of hair on him.
Brody Chase, I believe, was the one who had a mullet, sideburns, and a mustache.
Actually, a lot of these jobbers had, like, hair in the wrong places.
There was a guy with...
They didn't have hair on the top of their head, but they had an amazing amount of hair on their chest and back, for example.
Or thighs.
And legs.
There was a bald man with hairy thighs.
Guys, seriously.
No, that's what made them such great jobbers, though.
So they're so unsuccessful at their craft that they can't afford razors?
Yes. They look so unremarkable.
Yes, that's putting it kindly.
Then it made the stars they were with look like stars.
I will say the jobbers, Tony Zane and Brody Chase, these jobbers were better wrestlers than half the guys working today.
Undoubtedly true.
Now, obviously, that was part of Buddy Wayne did a lot of jobs, because the idea was, if you're a really, really great worker, they want you to be there to make the other guys look good.
True.
And Brody Chase and Tony Zane, not that the Rock and Roll Express needed too much help. Maybe Robert Gibson, but Brody Chase and Tony Zane were there to make them look great, and the good guys made a comeback. The double drop kick was the finish, which was even better in slow motion.
Yes.
WWE 24/7 can make anyone love wrestling again. I just got to say that right here. No matter how shitty TNA is, for example, and this past week it was so damn shitty. You watch this WWE 24/7 for a couple hours and you forget all about it. That led us to the Boogie Woogie Man doing an interview. I actually expected somebody to say a lyric out of a ZZ Top song and he would begin singing it. Awesome interview. I don't know what he said. I have no idea what he said.
All I got out of this was he started talking about the boys and girls who he called the chillin'. And he said Santa was coming, and he encouraged them all to be good, and Santa would bring them a present because he loved them, and the children loved Santa, and he loved Santa. Then he vowed that if he won one of the Bunkhouse Stampede Battle Royals, and if he won the $25,000 prize, he would give it out to the boys and girls. I bet he didn't win.
I'm thinking he did not. The Boogie Woogie Man.
Is a one of a kind.
Just these guys out there. Here's the thing, like, I guess we'll talk about this more with some other guys, but I can mention it here. Dusty did the same thing as well. There was a Dusty Rhodes interview. We had Nikita Koloff and Alan Martin, which was a quick squash. Nikita looked like Goldberg, just stiffer. And then afterwards, he did a promo with Dusty, and Dusty just did this fabulous promo. And again, no fucking idea what Dusty was talking about. No. He mentioned him and Nikita getting funky like a monkey.
Over and over again.
Yeah. To me, that's, perverse.
He said that the night before, himself, Nikita, and David Crockett had gotten funky like a monkey.
That's a very perverse three-way right there.
And then the next night, they were going to get even funkier. He encouraged the fans to get funky with monkeys.
Now, the point of this whole thing is, these interviews here, no idea what the Boogie Woogie Man was talking about. No fucking idea what Dusty Rhodes was talking about. And really, to be honest, during the Ric Flair interview on this show, all I know is that Ric Flair promised to win a match and then fuck every girl in Chicago. That is all I got out of it.
That was the gist of it, yes.
But I was in complete awe.
You were entranced.
This was like the best interview I've seen in years. And I watched it on WWE 24/7, a 1986 World Championship Wrestling television program in the fucking studio. Here's the thing with interviews. This is why they suck nowadays. And everybody always mentions that the interviews suck nowadays. People always mention that, okay, you've got a bunch of writers, and you've got the same people writing stuff for everybody, and these guys aren't able to cut promos that have anything to do with their character or anything like that. Like John Cena does these promos where, why would John Cena's character ever say shit like this? Or somebody else? Why would
Jeff Hardy refers to himself as a charismatic enigma?
Yeah, why would Jeff Hardy's character ever refer to himself as such a thing? So these promos are so lame, but the bigger issue is that the words really don't matter all that much. Sometimes they do. Sometimes it's important to say the right thing. But part of the charm of these old interviews was it was the guy giving the interview.
There was a crazy man on television ranting and raving about Christ knows what.
The man giving the interview was like how can I even explain it?
A cartoon?
It was a moment. It was a extravaganza.
It felt important, yes.
Not even so much it felt important. It was just like these guys were so nutty in their interviews that they came across as larger-than-life characters.
Yeah.
And when they threw in that they wanted to fight another guy, you wanted to see these guys fight each other. It wasn't even so much that they said, I want to fight this guy and this is why, although they did that. But there was so much personality and life in these interviews, and it is completely and totally lacking today. So anyway, Dusty was just awesome, and Ric Flair was just unbelievable. Just a 10-star interview. I just watched it and I just watched it. What's the word? I experienced this Ric Flair interview.
That's a good one, yes.
That's all I can say.
You absorbed it.
Yeah. He was just great. So, by the way, whenever they went to commercial, the catchphrase of World Championship Wrestling on December 18th, 1986 was, I swear to God, this is the quote, "Let's face it, the best is right here."
And they always cut to a shot, very cutting-edge, state-of-the-art special effects, where we were looking at the surface of the moon, and in the upper right corner was the Earth spinning around, and then in the center of it was a TV screen that would show it was usually a still shot, and it would usually be somebody striking a pose or doing a move, and when they said, "Let's face it, the best is right here," the shot was Nikita Koloff breaking out of a waist lock. Yeah, had him in. It looked gay.
We had Arn and Ole Anderson against Mike Samani and Randy Mulkey.
This is the best match I ever saw.
It was a complete squash match.
Yes.
But I learned something else when I watched this squash match. People often say they need to bring squash matches back to TV.
Yes.
And you say, okay, well, why is that? And people always say, well, you know, it helps get guys over. It helps establish people's finishers. And we'll get to this when we talk about SmackDown, when I talk about Dolph Ziggler's finisher. But that's usually what people say when they mention why squash matches need to be brought back. There's a reason that people don't mention all that often, but to me, it's the number one reason squash matches need to come back. It is really fun, especially if you're a wrestling fan, it is really fun to watch one guy or two guys beat the fuck out of other guys.
Sure.
This squash consisted of Arn and Ole Anderson beating the holy living shit out of Mike Simani and Randy Mulkey. They stomped on them. Mm-hmm. They twisted their arms.
Yes.
They slammed them.
They stepped on their noses.
They dropped knees on them.
Right.
They dropped elbows on them. They just beat the shit out of them. And when you have, say, Arn and Ole Anderson beating the fuck out of two guys, and then later you have, for example, Crusher Khrushchev and Ivan Koloff beating the fuck out of two guys, just that right there makes it kind of exciting to see perhaps these two men going at it. Perhaps these two teams fighting each other. Mm-hmm. That's excitement right there with nothing else needed. This squash, it just... A squash like this nowadays, everybody would say this match went too long. Not this match. I could have watched Arn and Ole Anderson beat the shit out of Mike Simani and Randy Mulkey for like 10 hours, and I never would have got sick of it.
It was really, really great.
It was so
awesome. My favorite moment was, I believe it was the Mulkey. Arn was working over, and he was tired of beating up this man. He wanted to beat up the other guy. So he threw him into his own corner so he could make the tag. And Simani was the guy, I believe, I think I described him as looking like a homeless Lou Thez. He was the dude with the no hair in his head, but the hairy thighs, and no body. And he got this tag, and he was not angry or insulted.
No.
He was not afraid.
He was stoic.
He was stoic. He got the tag, and he did not waste time, nor did he hurry. He just stepped into the ring, he stepped forward, and Arn Anderson kicked him in the gut.
Yes.
And the beating continued.
These jobbers are awesome because they are so completely impotent. I mean, completely, totally impotent. And it's awesome. We had Tully Blanchard doing an interview with J.J. Dillon, and then he faced Bill Mulkey, yes, the other Mulkey, with the TV title on the line.
Yes.
Title did not change hands.
No. Tully Blanchard won. The highlight of this was two things about J.J. Dillon. First of all, I never noticed this, but he looks exactly like Philip Seymour Hoffman.
And Tully Blanchard looks exactly like Simon Diamond.
He did. And it was watching Tully work. You know, he was one of Shawn Michaels' favorites because he was from San Antonio, and you could see in the early, right after the Rockers broke up, you could see where Shawn got a lot of his mannerisms because Tully was so awesome here. He would go to lock up and then slap the guy in the head and back up again like a complete prick. And you can see Shawn did a lot of the same stuff when the Rockers broke up in 90 whatever. So yes, that influence is evident. But the other great thing about JJ here was the crowd chant. This is a chant you would never hear in 2009, and it makes me sad, but the crowd chanted, I'm not making this up, "Go home, JJ." Repeatedly.
Yeah.
JJ did not go home.
They showed clips of Wyndham and Ron Garvin winning the tag titles from Khrushchev and Koloff.
Very Wyndham, not Kendall.
Yeah.
I want to specify that. It was, there was because it was a title match between two teams who ordinarily only beat up jobbers. The crowd was going crazy for all of it. And even when the Russians got their chain in TNA, we would bitch about this because it happens in every match. Here, it seemed important. It seemed, these two big Americans here are giving us trouble. Let's grab a chain. And then better yet, it backfired and they got pinned anyway.
Yeah.
And this chain, by the way, this is not like you'll see guys, they'll grab a dog collar or something. It'll be about a foot long, very thin, they'll wrap it around the fist, and that's it. No. This chain could hold back a horse.
We had Tim Horner against Vernon Deaton.
Okay, this
was an example where nowadays things are better.
The show ceased to be great right here. They exchanged a lot of holds.
No, they didn't. Tim Horner put him in a lot of holds.
That's a better way to put it, yes. Then he had a drop kick. Was that the finish?
No, it was the O'Connor roll, or the reverse rolling cradle.
Yes, the O'Connor roll, that was his roll. And
Vernon Deaton is not better than most wrestlers today.
No, and frankly, neither is Tim Horner.
No.
And I'm sure someone, perhaps Carl Stern, will get angry when I say this, but
No, he won't.
this was the most boring, emotionless wrestler I've ever seen. His expression and his body language never changed. Not when he was wrestling, not when he had a big move, not when he won. He made Lance Storm look like Randy Savage at his peak.
Tim Horner,
Yes.
everyone. By the way, apparently when Lance Storm was making his big comeback at the ROH show on, what was it? Saturday night. Where's the thing somebody sent me? It's a question they wanted me to ask Lance. Had to do with a great chant. Oh, here we go. Brian, I was wondering how Lance felt when he was making his comeback in the singles match with Chris Hero, and the crowd enthusiastically started chanting, "Let's go Sirius!" There you go. Then we had the Flair interview, which was awesome, a Jim Cornette interview that was awesome, and then we had the Midnight Express against Rocky King and George South. This was one of those matches also that nowadays people would say this match went too long. But these damn fans stayed with it the entire time, even doing dueling chants until the very end. And South got a 2-second comeback and was then killed. This was awesome.
It was.
Hey, open that door. I'm about ready. You people don't even know how hot it is right now. I know some of you that live in a balmy climate will be talking about what pussies we are, but living in Seattle, it never hits, say, 100 degrees. It's very, very humid, and
did it hit 100 today?
Yes, it did.
Yeah.
It's supposed to be even hotter tomorrow. And, of course, since it's Seattle, nobody around here has air conditioning. No. So I'm sitting in a complete sweat box right now.
And as we've noted, it can be like 110 in Las Vegas, and it's okay because you're in the desert.
Not
We're
here.
next to the sea.
Yeah.
It's wet here.
So, anyway, I'm just sweating my ass off, but...
The Flair promo, first of all, it came right after the Tim Horner match, and that cannot be an accident. He said, we need to put Ric Flair here. We need enthusiasm now. And he comes out, and he's got the big gold belt on brown leather. And he's wearing a black fur coat and his sunglasses. And he starts ranting and screaming. And probably a third of this promo was talking about his match with, I think it was Nikita and the Horsemen's match in the Bunkhouse Stampede. He talked about that for about a third of this promo. The next 2/3 were devoted to
this
the party.
This is just me fanning myself, everybody. I just want everyone to know.
We have a paper plate, and you're cooling yourself down with. You're also nude from, hopefully, just the waist up. I can't actually see the rest. Don't stand.
Don't stand up.
Yeah. But the last 2/3 of this promo was devoted to announcing the Horsemen were having a party. He said they were renting out the penthouse, the top floor of, I believe he said, the Hyatt Regency in Chicago. He invited all Chicago women between the ages of 18 and 25 to come up. They showed a girl who was definitely not yet 18. That made me laugh. But he said he told them all that none of you can be first, but all of you can be next. Then he said woo. And, he spent 2/3 of this promo literally just hitting on every female in Chicago and inviting them to his party.
There was so much... Well, so it's going to come out poorly, but there was so much Larry Sweeney in this interview.
I don't know.
So I guess the other way to say it would be there's so much Ric Flair and Larry Sweeney. How about that?
Yeah.
You could just watch this and watch some Larry Sweeney promos and go, hey, I know who Larry's influence might be. And what a great influence it is, by the way.
Do much worse. Yeah. And then it went to Cornette, who was just coming back after destroying his knee in the scaffold match, and he was ranting about the surgery and how he was thinking about Paul Ellering and the Road Warriors the entire time they wheeled him in, and when they put the oxygen or the sleeping gas, whatever the hell it's called, when they put that on his face, and coming out of rehab, and every step he took, pain shot up to his hip, and he thought of the Road Warriors and Paul Ellering then, and he was going to stick the Midnights on them, and he's going to stick Big Bubba on him. Then they had the match, and every time Eaton and Condrey touched Rocky King, they would look at their hands and then wipe them on the mat or wipe them on the ropes. He's greasy.
1986.
These are there was no comment about this, but these are things you could do with a black wrestler in 1986 that you could not do in 2009. Nor should you.
Huh. Kind of stroke a little bit.
Whoa, hang on now.
Come on, I just want you to pet it.
It's in a very uncomfortable
Pet
area.
it. Just pet it.
No, I won't do that.
Go like that. What does that do, Dave? Just tap him on the head.
I can't do that.
Just tap him on the head. Give him a kiss.
No. Oh, hell no.
Okay, hold on. Oh, beautiful. I said to hold on.
Fuck.
Oh my God.
Oh, powerful sperm, let me tell you. Wow.
5 stars. That was a 5-star song.
That was depressing, distressing.
Often.
I do not know what the fuck that was.
That was made of wind.
It's made of wind?
Made of wind.
Vinny and I are going to recap segment by segment. I think the worst pay-per-view in years. This pay-per-view was horrible. Horrible.
It's hard to argue with that claim.
I don't even know what else to say.
This was the worst pay-per-view of this year for sure.
I should do a Chris Jericho promo and start reading out of the thesaurus. Horrible. Wretched.
Vile.
Appalling.
Useless.
Atrocious. Insulting.
Devoid of merit.
God, this was horrible. This show did not have a single match above 2.5 stars. It had one match that I gave -5 stars.
That may have been generous.
Can't believe the last time I gave a match. I can't even remember the last time I gave a match -5.5 star. -5 stars.
The worst match I've ever seen.
Jesus, it was for sure the worst women's match I've ever seen. I would have to look at a whole bunch of the worst matches of all time to determine if this was actually the worst match I've ever seen in my whole life.
I have not seen Sheik and Volkov versus the Bushwhackers in many years, nor Pat Patterson versus Gerald Briscoe and the gown match.
There's no way that was worse than this.
This was for sure worse than the Naturals versus Chris Del Sol and Matt Farmer.
There's no way this was worse than Patterson and Briscoe, because those guys have been around long enough that I don't think that it's possible they could have a -5 star match. Maybe -3, perhaps even -4, but there's no way. -5 stars is like...
It is a perfect bad rating.
Someone asked me, are you sure it wasn't -4 3/4? And the answer is no, I'm sure it's -5. Because to me... -5 is one of the worst matches I have ever seen. And Sheik and Volkov versus the Bushwhackers, I remember that off the top of my head. That was actually more than -5 stars. But I will probably never forget this match. I probably will never forget it as long as I live.
I will never recover from this match. I will never be the same again.
It was Jenna Maraska, everybody, the Survivor chick, and Sharmell. I've never even seen anything like this.
From the get-go.
In every conceivable way. I've never...
Sharmell walked out in her sequined gown with black knee-high wrestling boots.
Yeah.
You knew you were in for something special.
Oh, my God. This show. And it gets worse. Last month, I at least praised TNA because we've got 2 pay-per-view channels now. We've got the regular pay-per-view and the HD pay-per-view. And the regular TNA pay-per-view was $30, and the HD version was also $30. And I thought, TNA sucks, but at least I don't have to pay any extra for the HD version. Not this month!
Great.
This month I paid $40 for this show. $40 I paid for this pay-per-view. 4 people bought a month subscription to pay for this pay-per-view. I don't know which 4 of you that is, but I'm sorry.
Give those people their money back.
I actually, a couple of pay-per-views ago, called Comcast to see if I could get my money back for a TNA show.
I do recall that.
And they told me no. Maybe if enough people call this time, maybe they'll tell me yes. This was so bad, the badness of this pay-per-view. Tara and Angelina Love, one of the rare highlights of this show, they had a Knockouts title match, and it was 2 stars, an average women's wrestling match. Crowd was hot early.
Yeah.
So for those of you that say, they need to get out of Orlando, these crowds suck. No! This crowd was really good for this match.
We watched this match for reasons we don't need to get into here. We ended up watching this match last.
Yeah.
So we had just watched the whole show going off the air after Kurt and Foley, and we were drained. We were miserable. Our friend who was here had left. We did not want to see anymore. And then we watched this match. Everything was happy. The crowd was hot. They were chanting. They were cheering for the spots, not just like trying to get themselves excited. No, they were into the match and enjoying it for what it was, and it was fun. And then things just went off an immediate cliff. I said, and you disagreed with this, but I said this is the best thing in the show by a large margin.
Well, it wasn't. It was an average match. The crowd was at least into it. But if you put the crowd in any other matches, those matches would have all, I guess, maybe been better. But anyway, Tara made a comeback. Velvet tried to spray Tara in the eyes, but sprayed Angelina on accident, and then Angelina immediately kicked out. So they killed the gimmick. I can't call this the best match on the show where they killed the one gimmick they had. Heels got sent to the back. Tara missed a moonsault, and Angelina covered her and got the pin. Tara had her feet on the ropes, but the ref didn't see it. So they interviewed him later, and he said that he was not reversing this decision. The referee's decision was final, blah, blah, blah. She ended up, Tara gave him a super kick and then put the spider on him afterwards. And the spider, this 2-ounce spider, pinned down the referee. He could not escape. It was like a 200-pound plate had been put on his chest. Mm-hmm. And that was the end of that. I cannot say they killed the gimmick because she got sprayed in the eyes. Tara rolled her up, and then the referee immediately distracted himself with Madison Rayne and Velvet Sky for several seconds. So she was pinned for like a 12 count before she finally kicked out. She's still kicked out of the spray in the eyes. They use that for every match as the finish. This would be like if Randy Orton hit his kick, and the referee was down for 12 seconds, and the guy kicked out. It would kill it. You're also comparing the kick that has put men out for months to a hairspray spot that just ends matches. Well, sure, but at least it ended matches. Yeah. At least it was something that you could use that people believed is a finish. Now they don't even have that. Now it's a finish if the ref's paying attention. No, I don't buy it. They killed the hairspray for no reason. I don't think it matters, but I disagree. Did we need the ref to be distracted or kick out of this in the first match? I realize you watched this at the end of the show after we'd seen everything else. But imagine if this was the first thing you saw all night. That probably would have annoyed me. A women's match for... Well, except that at this point I just expect bullshit in every match from TNA, and I usually get it. So this would have been it. It comes with the territory. I don't care. It's still stupid. I'm not giving them a pass because they're TNA. This sucked. Then we had Borash interviewing Angle, who flat out said, "Tonight, you're not going to get a pay-per-view quality match." Yes. I swear to God. That is a direct quote. In fact, he repeated it. Yeah. Said he was going to beat Foley quickly, and that would be that. And he also said if Joe, Booker, Nash, and Steiner did not walk out of the show with titles tonight, he was going to fire them on the spot. And they just looked at him. Yeah. All right. Matt Morgan and Chris Daniels. Matt Morgan versus Daniels. Oh, yeah. Because that's apparently just his name now. He is just Daniels. I don't know if they thought they had too many Chris's. Although I think that all the others are gone. Chris Park. That may have been it. Matt Morgan and Chris Daniels. Matt Morgan can't even lock up. After all these years, he cannot do a lock up. He was very bad this evening. He was horrible. Daniels did all he could, but what can you do? So they did a bunch of stuff. Morgan worked over Daniels' leg. Yes, not the little guy going after the big guy's leg. The big guy went after the little guy's leg. I guess to stop him from jumping all so much. Well, you see, and high flying. It all started when Daniels just jumped over the ropes to land on the floor, and in the process hurt his leg. So the heat spot was the babyface was stupid and hurt himself. Then he did a bunch of cradles on the Giant, which didn't work. And finally went for the BME, but the leg gave out, at which point several people in the front row began laughing. Yeah. And then he ate a kick and a elevator for the pin. Depressing. It was depressing. I gave it a 1.5 stars. I don't even know why it was so generous. You take a star off that right now. This is a bad match, everyone. It was a bad match. And the only thing to add to this is that in between Chris Daniels hurting himself and then missing a move to get pinned, we saw Matt Morgan just beat him up forever and ever and ever and ever. And it was actually about 2 minutes, but it felt like 2 hours. It felt like an eternity. And then he missed an elbow, but he's so bad that in the process of missing this elbow, he still hit him. Yeah. Bad. Borash interviewed Stevie and Daphne, and Dr. Stevie spoke of Abyss with an analogy related to painting. Not medicine. Painting. Said tonight's match was no DQ. So, every TNA match. He actually said, that's why I had to make this match no DQ. And then he turned to Borash and said, I know what you're thinking. And I was thinking, how do you, Dr. Stevie, have the power to make this match no DQ? But it was never addressed. No.
So he just did, and everyone said, okay. Perhaps Stevie's a champion of something.
He might be. That's how he has the power.
Maybe he's a champion doctor, and thus he has power to make matches.
Daphne told him that she loved him, and he said, I know. So apparently he's working over her mind as well. Dr. Stevie and Abyss. As I look at all the ratings I gave this show, I look back on it, and I realize I gave everything way too good a rating. I gave this 2.25 stars. I mean, it was Abyss beating the shit out of Stevie forever. Stevie bled like crazy. Abyss kept beating on him. Daphne came down with a taser. Lauren broke it up. And then Abyss hit the black hole slam and used the taser, which caused smoke to rise from the body of Stevie.
Has anyone in TNA ever actually seen a taser used? Or
I think they really used it on Abyss a while back, but that's different.
They don't generate smoke.
Anyway, a fun little segment of violence, I guess. There was nothing to the match, but Abyss beat him up for a long time and then won. Okay, 2.25 stars.
Many things worse on the show than this. Yes, they did crowd brawling, and then it was Abyss killing him forever. If it was as the payoff to a big scary monster finally getting revenge, and the little guy's been fucking with him for months and months and months, it was what it should have been, and it was fine.
Foley gave a pep talk to AJ and Beer Money, and he explained that if they lost the titles tonight, all of their jobs were in danger on Thursday.
Right.
Why?
Power, Bryan.
I would bet that none of them lose their job on Thursday.
I guarantee it.
And he also told them to please retain the belt so the main event wouldn't come down to everyone relying on him.
Yes, he made sure to know that he had no confidence in himself.
This is so great.
By the way, everyone, this is not a comedy promo.
No, this was dead serious.
What we're saying is what he said, but he said it in a sincere and grave manner.
Yes. Amazing.
What a bad show.
Team 3D and the British Invasion for the IWGP tag team titles. They said if Team 3D lost, they would not only lose their belts, but also their upcoming New Japan bookings.
Yes. And they noted the big payoff that goes with them.
I gave this 2 stars. It wasn't bad until the finish.
Yeah, it was
which
going
was
along,
the story of this show, in fact.
In many ways. But yes, it was going along perfectly fine. 3D, of course, are a good tag team. Doug Williams is a good wrestler, and Brutus Magnus, when he's surrounded by 3 other people who are that talented, can fit in and not screw anything up. So everything was going okay, and then 3D got the tables.
Stop right there.
All right.
Team 3D got the tables. Since when are tables allowed in a match? I know I yell about this every single time, but we just had a guy make a match, a no disqualification match, so he could use gizmos, and now these guys are just using tables just for the hell of it.
Right.
So they bring this table into the ring, and the ref says, you can't use this.
Mm-hmm.
Does he call for the bell?
No. You do not count to 5.
No. He starts taking the table apart himself to get rid of it.
Well, first of all, he just started waving his hands in front of Bubba. You can't use the table. And Bubba ignored him, because the referees in TNA are completely impotent. And then the British Invasion jumped Bubba, started doing spots with them, and yes, then the ref began to take the table down.
So the ref's taking the table apart, and Rob Terry, I believe, who they just announced as the Big Muscle Man, which actually should be his ring name. The Big Muscle Man. The Big Muscle Man hit the ring, but they just threw him outside. And then they hit the 3D on Williams, and the ref just came over and counted the pin. What was the point of the table distraction? Just to do it.
Just to do it.
It did not play into the end of the match at all.
And the best part was, it took you about 3 seconds to describe what happened. It actually took like 15 to break down.
Yes.
This ref was playing with this table for an hour.
Yeah.
Just sat over it, couldn't get the legs bent, couldn't get it onto his side, couldn't get it onto his back, and then gave up and turned around and counted 3.
Bashir and Kiyoshi at the ring. They tossed the Japanese guy outside and then put the mad Iraqi through a table.
Hell of a run-in.
With the bubble bomb off the top. Probably setting up a match next month, I would guess.
Sure. But you would think that you wouldn't want, 3D to get beat up and so they could get revenge? No. The Sheik ran out, got beat up, and I guess he'll want revenge.
This was where we had Slick Johnson doing an interview talking about how he made a mistake and he was going to talk to Mr. Cornette and demand a title rematch be signed for later. Who? Mr. Cornette. He's not been seen, heard from, or anything for months.
No. In fact, all we've heard for the past few months is Kurt Angle and Jeff Jarrett and Mick Foley talking about the power the titles have.
Wow.
So, yeah. There's just... Everyone in TNA is apparently in charge at the moment.
Shouldn't Angelina just be able to squash any attempts at a rematch since she's got the title? Does that mean she has power?
I guess.
Does that mean the balance of power has shifted?
I suppose.
We had the match.
That match.
Sharmell with Sojourner Bolt against the Survivor Chick and Awesome Kong. Survivor Chick came out, and all it read on the screen was Jenna. No last name.
Not even Survivor Jenna.
No, just Jenna. So she had this completely ridiculous song called I Will Survive. She then proceeded to do a cross between the Beautiful People's entrance and Melina's entrance. The lewdest entrance I've ever seen.
Basically, and I'm not trying... I'm just describing what I saw. It was an entrance designed to show off her asshole. Not just the ass, but her actual tunnel.
And as she did this, they cut to the other girls who were appalled. Just appalled.
It looked, for all the world, that Jenna had gone on Survivor and earned her money, and her goal was now to channel this success into a career in hardcore pornography.
I have a bone to pick with the Observer. Actually, the Observer's from 1992, and it's not even Dave. It's the people that sent house show reports to Dave. If you read through the old Observers on this website, you'll see a bunch of house show matches, and there will be a match that say, Bushwhacker Luke against Hacksaw Jim Duggan. And whoever saw the match gave it -5 stars. I've been seeing this for a while, and it always pisses me off, because it's like, I guarantee that fucking match was not -5 stars. Mm-hmm. I'm sure it was the worst match on the show. I'm sure if you were watching a lot of Japanese pro wrestling in the early 90s, or even some of the best stuff in WCW, or even the best stuff in WWE, I'm sure that was the worst match you saw. But it was not fucking -5 stars. And these assholes that sent in these matches claiming they were -5 stars, they had no idea what they were in for in 2009.
That is clear.
Hacksaw Jim Duggan and Bushwhacker Luke.
You don't have to pay to watch Luke and Duggan instead of this match?
That would have been one of the best matches on this fucking show.
Yes.
I guarantee it.
Yes.
So they had this match.
I hope for their sake those people died before 2009 came along. They didn't have to witness this.
Jenna, she got worse the longer the match went on. She got completely blown up. She could do absolutely nothing. She had the worst offense I've ever seen in my entire life. People were booing. They tried the catfight spot where they roll over the ref, and nobody cared at all. The only fucking thing missing from this was the Fire Russo chant. I have no idea how we didn't get that chant during this match.
I think I heard one guy say it one time, and when his friends did not join in, he immediately gave up.
So Survivor Chick ended up ripping out some of Sharmell's extensions. So then Sojo hit the ring, and she got tossed outside. Kong was supposed to catch her, but missed and did not care at all. I mean, not at all. So then Sharmell demanded Kong give her the extensions, which Jenna had given Kong. Kong gave her a karate chop to the neck. Jenna proceeded to do a lap dance on her face and pin her with her vagina. This was the worst women's match I've ever seen in my whole entire life.
I still maintain it was the worst match I ever saw. Jenna, who had earlier been tripped by Sojo Bolt and fallen to the earth unmoving.
Yeah.
Like she'd been shot in the head with a large gun.
Yes.
And after this, and the match continued, she made her comeback with, yes, the worst offense I've ever seen. Worst punches ever.
And just stopped selling completely.
Yeah. And then by the time this match was done, okay, I will now do my sexy dance on Sharmell's face.
I'm going to go watch this match again, actually, I just need to prove to myself that I actually saw it.
I'm just going to read my notes verbatim here. They're brief. I don't want you to know every word is in capital letters. And followed by an exclamation point. Jenna's entrance, Sharmell's gear, it's horrible, it's getting worse, Jenna is babyface, worst comeback ever, worst match ever. Thumbs down.
-5 stars, everybody.
-5 stars.
That was a legitimate, honest-to-God, negative 5-star match.
I mentioned during this time, it was so much worse than I expected, and you asked what I was expecting, and that was a fair question. And all I can say is, my imagination was limited.
WWE would have found a way to smoke and mirrors this. Or actually, better yet, they wouldn't have ever put this match together. Not TNA. Oh, no. They had Jenna running ropes.
They would have...
Supposedly. I don't know actually what it was that she really did.
I am still more offended by her punches than her rope running.
If you want to even call them that.
Her hand strikes. They were the worst I've ever seen. I think there were two kids outside your condo here playing basketball. I think you went up there and said, throw fake punches at your little brother. It would have been a million times better.
Of course it would have.
Yeah.
Without any question whatsoever.
I think anyone listening to this could have had a better match.
Granny and Brent would have had a better brawl.
Yeah.
Undoubtedly.
Without hurting each other.
Nash did an interview talking about his match with AJ. Said that those geeks Foley had been talking to had been there for 5 years and were in the exact same spot. Lovely. Said he didn't get the job done tonight, he would retire. Yes. A retirement match on pay-per-view where they shot the angle halfway through the pay-per-view.
Not just halfway through the pay-per-view. They shot the angle immediately before the match.
Yeah. Guaranteed he'd win the belt, which is what babyfaces do, and he's a heel. So anyway, he won the belt. AJ and Nash. Dave said this was the best thing on the show up to this point. I have no idea what match he was watching.
I think that was an outright lie.
AJ went for his legs. The match was really, really slow. They botched the spot in the corner and immediately did it again.
Yes.
AJ was still killing himself for this stupid show. Nash wasn't even breathing hard. And keep in mind, this is not a guy that can even do any cardio whatsoever. He can't even run. So, AJ did a Garvin Stomp. I think Nash fell asleep. AJ put him in a fake submission. I don't know what it was supposed to be. Then a face lock. And Nash, by the way, for those of you keeping track, the story of Nash's hair has been a story for decades now, and after all these years, it's starting to thin. And if there was ever anything that Nash did not need to make him look even older, this was it. This poor guy. So he ate the Pele to a shockingly big reaction, but then kicked out, and then pinned him out of nowhere with a chokeslam clean.
Yes.
It is 2009!
Kevin Nash is pinning AJ Styles for championships on pay-per-view.
Clean!
Yes. This was a bad match. There was a point, because...
it's amazing. In matches where you want to have a clean finish, they have bullshit.
Uh-huh.
And in matches where you almost have to have a bullshit finish, they do it clean. It's amazing.
I believe that was the only clean finish on the show.
Jesus.
I believe it was. But there was a point where, Nash had the comeback, Nash had the heat, he was doing his offense, it was plodding, it was slow, but it's Nash. And, then AJ started his comeback, and then he had a couple forearms. And then Nash laid there.
Look at my shoulder spasming. Oh, it stopped. Oh. Okay, go on.
Yeah, but Nash ate a couple forearms, then he just laid there. And so AJ laid on his back and shouted, "Is he out? Is he out?" And he kept wrestling, and this is the point where Nash just laid down and lay on his ass for a while. And I was certain that on one of these forearms, AJ had just clobbered him and knocked him goofy. After the show, I went back and watched, and I don't think so. I think it was a planned, what do you call it? A work shoot?
I don't know.
We were supposed to
Why are we still talking
Nash
about this?
Nash actually had been knocked out. He was just laying down for a while. Yeah, it was bad.
This was when Lauren went to the dressing room to follow up on the women's title thing, and Slick Johnson came out of the shower. He had been boinking Madison Rayne, or something. And Madison told Lauren to keep her mouth shut about this. Now, I realize some of you are going to say, but Bryan, sometimes you pretend that the cameras aren't there. Fine! But in this situation, Lauren was talking to the camera.
Yes.
So you cannot pretend it was not there, unless you want to pretend it vanished, which it didn't.
or you can pretend Madison Rayne is legitimately retarded, and she does not know what a camera is. Maybe there's a camera in disguise.
Booker and Scott Steiner against Beer Money, 2.25 stars. This actually was on its way to being the best match on the show, until, of course, the finish. We had Storm spitting beer in Steiner's face, and they hit their finish. But the ref, somehow, was down. I have no fucking idea how.
They were saying he had beer in his face.
How? He wasn't even close to this spot.
I have no idea.
So he finally goes to count, and Booker pulls him out of the ring. And then Booker claims that Storm had spat beer in the ref's eyes. So then Booker hit Rude with an axe kick on the ropes, and Steiner cradled him. And the key was that the ref and Storm are both sides out of the ring, and they're both having a race. The ref is trying to get in to count the pin, and Storm is trying to get in to count it out. They both start from the same spot, and Earl fucking Hebner wins the race with James Storm. Storm has to pretend he is slower than Earl fucking Hebner.
You're actually, it's worse than you're making it sound. Not only did Earl get there first, he got there and counted to 3 before James Storm could get there.
Yeah.
Oh my God. It started off, it was just a routine kind of boring tag match, and then as the heat progressed, as the as the heat progressed, the heat got louder and louder, and then when he got the hot tag, people were into it, and it was fun for a while. And then the cliff came, and it just turned 90 degrees straight down to the earth and dove deep down there. So
you only see finishes fucked up like this in TNA. I mean, when's the last time we saw a WWE finish on any show this badly screwed up? And this happens all the time.
Not that it was.
This happened throughout the show. These finishes were so badly timed, nobody knows what they're doing, everybody's out of position, and they all just look like idiots. How? Well, their agents suck. That's obvious.
Clearly. Or just no one's paying attention, either way.
Borash interviewed Booker and Steiner, and they did a promo saying they told us so. I guess they told us this would be the worst pay-per-view in years.
It was very strange, because they never do post-match promos, and here, they did. And it was fine, but it didn't lead to anything. They decided, randomly, we're going to do a post-match promo now. And they did, and then they never did another one.
Joe did a promo saying his mentor was here and ready for war, promised to deliver Sting's head to this man. It was amazing on the show to see guys like Joe and AJ still giving 100%. I mean, just, how could you care? How could you possibly want to give your all to this pay-per-view? So they had a match. Joe beat him all over the place early, including into the crowd. None of this was a DQ.
They did lots and lots of crowd brawling, and after fighting the crowd for several minutes, they went into the ring and proceeded to take turns putting rest holds on each other.
Yeah. You know, the best part is after the show was over, they had the fucking temerity to air a commercial for Hard Justice, their next pay-per-view. And they announced that all of the matches at Hard Justice are no DQ, or Extreme Rules, or something like that. And I was like, so you set that up by having a pay-per-view where everybody just did whatever they wanted in all the matches.
I am trying to remember the last time I saw a disqualification in TNA.
Never!
It's been fucking years.
Joe did a big dive. The crowd cheered. He's a heel. Slick Johnson was the referee. Clearly nobody in TNA management even watches the pay-per-views. This guy just fucking came out of the shower with one of the girls in the match where he fucked up the finish, and he's just back refereeing like nothing happened. They didn't even make mention of him. Sting stopped selling at one point. I love when Sting stops selling, because he's getting punched in the corner, and it's time for him to come back, so he just stops selling. And he takes like 5 punches in a row, and then he blocks one and starts to come back. Why the fuck do you bother blocking it? You're not even selling any of them. So he makes his comeback and puts Joe in the death lock. And suddenly out comes Taz, looking completely square. Taz comes down to the ring. I'm trying to think. He looks like a refrigerator or something. Like a, I don't know. So he rolls down to the ring, and looking like a piece of luggage. And as soon as Joe sees him, I guess the gimmick is that whenever Joe sees Taz, he goes crazy.
Yes, the deal is Joe is the Undertaker and Taz is the Urn.
So Joe's locked in this hold. He can't get out. He's about to tap. He sees Taz. He stops selling, breaks out of the hold, and starts
He breaks out of the hold, and then Sting cut him off and started going for covers.
That's what I'm getting to, jackass. Right. He powers out of the hold. He stops selling. He starts going nutty with all these punches, and then he just gets elbowed and falls down.
Yes.
Way to go, Joe. Way to go, Taz. Sting gets a clothesline off the top, goes for a second one, gets crotched. Then Joe tried the muscle buster, but he couldn't get Sting up. They both kind of fell down, and then he put him in a choke, got the submission. Again, match completely fucking fell apart at the finish, and then afterwards Taz got in the ring and looked blocky, and no one cared.
Yes.
What
indeed.
more is there to say?
I also like how it appeared that Sting locked on the Scorpion, and Joe fought, and I think Sting, I don't know if he thought Taz was going to walk out, or if he was ready for music, but Sting has just kind of started to let go of the hold. And he started standing up straight. He never actually technically let go, but for a while it was clear that Joe was not in any pain at all. There's nothing in this position to indicate he should submit. But darn it, he kept fighting. And then Taz came out. So there again is just poor planning, poor communication, people not knowing what was going on.
They announced that Lashley had signed, and they had clips of him doing a radio interview where he said he couldn't wait to have a fight with Brock Lesnar.
Yes. The Lashley announcement was devoted to talking about how great Brock Lesnar is.
And now he can't wait to wrestle him, or fight him.
You better wait. Either way, you better keep waiting.
And by the way, they announced Lashley had signed. He's already been on pay-per-view and TV. And several months ago, when I announced that the guy wasn't under contract, And they put the fucking guy on TV without a contract. I had everybody telling me how stupid I was. Oh, Bryan, TNA would never be so dumb. You're an idiot. Yeah, well, who's the idiot now? Angle and Foley. Oh, no, first we had the interview with Borash saying, very solemn atmosphere here backstage. No shit?
Mm-hmm.
So Foley said he was going to create pain and exploit weaknesses.
This is actually a fucking great promo. Building up this match here, and I thought, boy, you know, if they had put this on the free TV show,
of course not.
People might have watched it and bought the show.
No, absolutely not. So they had a match, and Angle has a torn groin. Foley's 45 or 42 or 43 or whatever he is, and broken down. They went at half speed. There was a moment where you could see Dixie Carter sitting there watching, and I just thought, what's this woman thinking? I bet she's thinking, what a great pay-per-view I'm witnessing here live. They did some stuff. Foley got backdropped on steel steps. Dunn was talking about all those powerful belts. I'm so sick of hearing about these powerful belts. So then we had Foley doing his big elbow off the thing onto the cement. What an idiot.
The worst part was he got no
one cared.
No. The story of this match was just two broken old dudes killing themselves for no reaction.
Yeah.
Happened many times. But the other was worse to me because remember on Impact when Homicide was about to pin Suicide and he looks at Suicide, looks at the briefcase, looks at the belt, looks around, looks at all the crowd, and they all started to cheer.
Sure.
He built at the moment.
Yeah.
Mick Foley, who's been doing this shit a lot longer than Homicide, threw Kurt out in the apron, or onto the floor, climbed out in the apron and jumped off with an elbow.
Now, keep in mind the director here he's got his trigger finger on the button to cut to different angles. This fucking guy didn't even have time to switch angles by the time Foley was jumping.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, I thought that same thing. I was like, you couldn't... I mean, maybe like earlier you tease the spot, and then later you do it, or at least get out there on the apron and think about it a bit, because Christ, you're old. No, he just threw him outside and didn't elbow off the apron. Wow. So, they did some more stuff. Angle finally put him in the ankle lock, and Foley got the ropes, and then Angle pulled him back in the middle of the ring, and I was thinking, maybe they could do something somewhat creative, like, Foley puts the claw on himself and passes out. No, he just took the sock off and then tapped.
That was the best part.
Because apparently if you have a sock on your hand and you tap, it doesn't count.
Right.
I'll ask Dane about that at the next press conference for UFC.
If a guy taps out with a sock on his hand without counting as an official
Sure. Is that allowed? So he did this bullshit, and then that was the end. I gave it 2.5 stars. They tried. They did the best they could. But then Nash, Joe, Steiner, Booker, and Taz came out and celebrated with Kurt. Tenay said, this is a worst-case scenario. I'll say.
It was totally not the best-case scenario. Yes, and then the main event Mafia had a big party. And then when you said earlier they had the temerity, I thought you were going to reference the highlight package for this show, where they went back
and they did that too.
They recapped everything you had just paid so much money to watch. Just a terrible, terrible, terrible program. Do not get the replay unless, for historical purposes, you feel you must see the worst match of all time.
Don't even do that, everybody. Just come on now. We do not need to. We do not need to. What's the word? Encourage this behavior by TNA.
That's true.
Do not
Everyone
support.
pirate this show.
Jesus. How about just do not support this pay-per-view? Just don't watch it. Just go
better things in your life. Go
get the
for a
replay
walk.
of UFC 100 for
Call
Christ's
your
sake.
mother.
Yeah.
Get a hobby.
Get swine flu.
Get
something.
swine flu. I just want to note one more thing here. We watched that match last, so it's at the end of my notes, but as they were building up the women's match and going, recapping the storyline, Mike Tenay said, very matter-of-factly, that the beautiful people have been undone by, and this is a direct quote, their fear of a pet tarantula. And I believe that's as much emotion as he put into it.
Yes.
So absurd.
Thumbs down, everybody. Thumbs down.
Giant, raving, angry thumbs down.
Destiny, it is the truth I seek. In this world I find a way to cross the line. Everybody's doing what everybody keeps doing. Everybody's doing the same thing. So I'll keep doing what I'll keep doing. I'll keep doing my thing. The world spins round for the right thing, say. So I'll keep spinning the other way. Doing what I can, doing what I love. The world's my stage and I'll fix the show.
You look like some kind of super nerd. It looks like you were built in a laboratory out of parts from a lesser nerd.
That was Crumbly singing the TNA theme.
Wow.
He knows the words to the TNA theme.
All of them.
I can't go off on Crumbly here because he has seen the error of his ways. He realizes now.
You finally give up.
Yeah, he's been badly turned off by TNA of late. I have Terry Funk's cell phone number. I thought it was his home phone number, but it's his cell phone. And I called it yesterday, and I guess he didn't know what number we were calling from, so he didn't answer the first time, and it goes to the voicemail. And what does your voicemail say? Is it the generic?
I believe it's the generic.
You have called blah blah
206 blah blah blah.
Okay, let me play that right now so I can set up this joke. So hold on one sec. I'm gonna call Vince's voicemail.
I hope this works.
Okay, here we go. So pretend I'm calling Terry Funk. I'm gonna recreate what happened. I hope you've got the same message.
I don't have no idea what this message is actually. I hope I have voicemail set up.
Please leave your message for
Terry Funk! I couldn't do it justice.
But it's Terry Funk screaming his own name.
He screams his own name at the top of his lungs, as only Terry Funk can do. It's like, the thing just says, like, press 1 and then state your name after the beep. So he pressed 1 and screamed. like at the Hall of Fame. He screamed as loud as he could, Terry Funk!
This may be a stupid question, but is that his real name?
Oh, yeah.
I don't know if that makes it more or less funny.
I cried with laughter. I could barely leave a message afterwards. Someone's going to have to make a drop of that with Terry screaming his own name so we can have a recreation of his voicemail.
Oh, God.
It was so awesome. All right, let's... Yeah. I should have recorded it.
Yes.
I'd call it right now, but for all I know, he'd answer. He's up being crazy right now. It's never too hot to punch
I
you.
dreamt the other night that you're going with somebody that was 62.
Huh.
Dream or premonition? Premonition.
Do what you want because a pirate is free. You
Fuck!
a pirate. You're
Fucking...
a pirate is a entity. Do what you want because a pirate is free. You
Fuck!
a pirate. You
Fuck!
a pirate. We got us a map.
Why?
Lead us to a
Alicia Fox.
hole locked up with locks and buried deep away. We'll dig up the box. We know it's full.
Satchel ass.
First open the locks, and then we'll say hooray!
Fucked! Oh, God.
I don't care who you like.
That's right. Gray doesn't care.
Fine with me.
Fucking...
Pirate is a entity. Do what you want, 'cause a pirate is free. You're
Fucked!
a pirate.
Fucked!
Pirate.
That was a great song. Sean David, everybody.
Wow.
A labor of love, he said. That was a good one.
A love of pirates?
Yeah.
Of aqua?
Of fucking pirates.
Of fucking pirates.
I knew that one involved copulation with a
Buccaneer?
a buccaneer, a hornswoggler,
A swashbuckler?
a swashbuckler.
Hello?
I love you, won't you tell me your name?
Hello?
I love you, let me jump in your game.
Hello?
I love you, won't you tell me your name?
Hello?
I love you, let me jump in your game.
Hello? 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 Hello?
What, hello?
Hello?
Granny, I was just about to send you an email telling you to turn your phone on.
I did have it on, but I don't know what happened. I talked to Lynn, and I think I forgot to shut it off. Call me back.
Call you back? You're on the air right now.
Oh, I am?
Yeah, why did we call you back?
I don't know. I didn't think of me calling you would,
It all works the same way.
Okay.
Okay. Yeah, we called and it went right to the answering machine. I'll actually still send you the email I was going to send you, since I was in the middle of sending it.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, so, we called, and, went right to the voicemail, and I was in the middle of sending you a thing, and I decided to call again, and this time I called, and you just picked up and didn't say hello.
Oh, I called you.
No, we definitely called you.
When I picked it up and I heard a busy signal, so I shut it off and called you.
Well, what were you calling me for?
Because I figured you were trying to get a hold of me. Anyway, never mind.
It's fascinating as this all is.
Did you call my cell phone?
No, I called your home phone.
Well, don't do that. I never answer that phone.
Oh, okay. So it must be a miracle or something that you called at the same time I thought I was calling your home number.
Some sort of miracle just happened. I'm not sure what it was, but something just happened.
Okay.
All right, Granny, what's going on?
Okay. I got on there yesterday. I don't know if you noticed.
I noticed.
Well, I got so many of them that I won't be able to do them all tonight.
Well, a lot of them were ridiculous anyway.
Yeah, well, first thing I want to tell the guys is I don't know a thing about any sports. So if they ask me any questions about sports, I can't answer because just not really into sports at all.
Yeah. All right, well, let's get going.
Huh?
Let's get going. Let's start answering some of the questions, Granny.
Okay, let's see. There was...
This segment's already awesome. All right, go ahead.
Well, if somebody asked me when I was young if we ever got bored because there was nothing to do, and we never missed what we didn't have. We did chores and played games like hopscotch, and we weren't bored. We always found something to do.
That's right. Now, that's a very valuable lesson for all you youngsters out there.
Yeah, because all this new things is bad for the kids. Nowadays, they get addicted to, at a very young age, to all this computer stuff.
Yes.
And, all the games.
Now, what did you say first? We never missed what we didn't know?
What we didn't have.
They never missed what they didn't have, everyone.
That's right.
That's right. Valuable lesson. All right, what's next?
And everything much more peaceful then, too.
Oh, yeah, I'm sure.
Okay, the 4th of July, they wanted to know what we're going to do. Sylvia and Cheryl are going to go to the casino.
Excellent.
And everybody else is going to the parade. You're probably going, Bryan.
The parade? I'm not sure what I'm doing yet, actually.
Oh, okay, but the parade is too much for me. We used to go all the time, and I just got tired of it.
Those parades, man, they're pretty overwhelming.
They are. There's all sorts of... There's clowns.
There's bands.
Things shooting up in the air.
Probably horses.
Pirates.
Yeah, well, and my church is having something in the parade, too.
Your church?
The Lord is in the parade?
Yeah.
You have a church?
I go to a church.
Oh, okay. I didn't know, you had a church.
Oh, now, come on. Don't put words in or whatever. Anyway.
Is that what she said?
The church I go to is going to have something in the parade.
Okay, so a steeple, perhaps.
Well, I'm not sure.
Maybe a life-sized Christ on the cross, perhaps?
I don't know.
All right. Okay, go on.
Now you lost me somewhere. Anyway, and usually Tony's mom has stuff at her house.
They do blow things up every year, yes, with the youngsters around.
But they're not going to have it this year. And besides, I never go there because a person brings her little girl that does not...
All right. We don't need to hear about the politics.
Yeah, discipline. So that's why I don't go there.
All right. Enough of that. Now the fireworks display, is Tony doing it this year?
I doubt it. I don't think there's going to be any.
Because that Tony's never any fun.
Well, Nikki said that Donna's neighbor usually has, so I don't know if they're going to go over there to Donna's house and watch the fireworks or not, but she will be there because she's out on the boat.
Granny's like the kids that I coach that tell me a story and they're just like, you'll never guess what Johnny did today. And I'm like, I have no idea who these people are. Go on, Granny.
They're also waiting for Tony's brother's wife to have her baby, too.
That's right. That's any day now.
She still has not popped that thing out?
Supposed to be this morning, but they haven't heard a word, so they were kind of a little bit worried about it. But
So in case they haven't heard a word, huh?
No, not a word.
I saw her like 2 weeks ago. She was ready to go.
She's, well, any time now. All right, Granny, go ahead.
Okay, and then another one was asking me what I thought of you moving back east.
I was unaware I was moving back east.
I don't know. I don't think you were moving.
I have no plans on moving back east.
Another one asked me if I ever milked a cow or rode a horse. Anyway,
cackling.
I was pretty young when we were on the farm, so I don't think I milked any cows, but I did ride the horses.
Well, you said
and they asked me if I ever had a job plucking chickens. Well, the fact is, I have. When I first Terry was born, I worked for the co-op place down in Seattle, and I plucked the feathers off of turkeys.
Wow,
a turkey plucker.
Now, Vinny had a question for you.
She said she did not milk cows, but earlier she said she had done chores. So I'm wondering if she was not milking cows, what chores was she doing on the farm?
What was I doing? I was too little to be doing any of it.
Well, you mentioned doing chores. He's wondering what chores you did.
Well, feed the chickens and stuff like that.
Yeah, Vince, Jesus, come on now.
Not on the farm, though.
Huh?
Never mind.
Now, Granny, did you ever pick cotton?
No, cotton's not raised around here.
Oh, okay.
You fool, Brian.
I'm sorry. All right. Granny roundly chastised me right there.
And they wanted to know what I thought of Michael Jackson. I never was too much of a fan of his, but I think the poor guy was a very troubled person.
He was a troubled man.
Probably true.
Yes, he was. All right, what's next?
Okay, and then the newsletters. It said how I got in with the newsletters, and I've done the newsletters since Bryan started, and he wanted to know if I picked them up from the printer, which I do.
Yeah.
He wants to know why you don't.
Well, the printer's a long way away from my house.
Yeah, and it's
like
only a
5
mile
minutes
away from mine, and I also take them to the post office another mile away.
That's right.
And Bryan brings the stamps, except this week I waited till 2 o'clock, and he forgot it was newsletter day.
I forgot what day it was. That should tell everybody a little something right there.
And I only was 2 stamps short, so that was okay.
That's good.
Oh, let's see, they wanted to ask me what I thought if you were earrings, and what was your worst hairdo?
Oh, God.
That actually is a great question. What was your worst hairdo? And was it within the past 6 months?
When he had his hair orange, that was the worst.
When I had my hair orange?
Yeah. Well, to me it was orange, because I remember walking into this restaurant and you were sitting across the room, and it looked positively orange to me.
I'm sure it was just bleached blonde for wrestling.
Anyway, and I remember you used to have 3 or 4 earrings in each ear.
3 or 4? That's a slight exaggeration.
I thought you had about 3 holes in each ear with earrings.
I think you're thinking of Tim Flowers. I had maybe 2 in each ear.
I often
max.
mistake you for Tim Flowers.
Actually. Oh, yeah. Well, you know how it is.
Okay, another one wanted to know if I have taken you to the Black Angus. I never had any plans on taking you. Anyway, I'm taking Nikki, but so far we haven't...
taking the grandchild she loves.
Yeah, now why are you taking Nick and not me?
Because Nikki took care of my cat when I was gone.
Yeah?
I take care of you every week.
How?
I took care of you in Vegas. Oh, got you there, didn't I?
Well...
She took care of your cat when you were in Vegas with me.
You didn't take care of me as well as
oh, really? I didn't take care of you as well?
As Rodney did.
Well, okay, that's true. I defer to you. If you're going to take one of us to Black Angus, you could take Rodney. But last time I checked, Rodney was in New Orleans, so that means it's my turn.
No, it's Nikki. And have you used your one that I got you from the restaurant that I got for your birthday?
All these details. No, I actually have not yet.
I'll take it back.
No, you won't. I haven't had a chance to use it yet.
Which restaurant is it for?
I think it's Olive Garden, if I recall correctly. All right, Granny, let's do one more.
Okay, and they said they want to know what I think of the fact that you're so rude to your customers.
Oh, God. Granny, you know what you said about the board. You want everyone on the board to just shut up.
Well, the only thing I would like to have you put is using the 4-letter word. But,
Granny, come on. It's 2009.
And they wanted me to know who I thought would be good with Dancing with the Stars. And I was thinking of maybe Kelly Ripa, the one that's on with Regis and Kelly's show.
Sure.
She is kind of into herself, and her husband, Mateo, would be good, too.
Mateo.
You know, come to think of it, Regis would be sensational on that
I was
program.
going to say, why isn't Regis on that show?
Yeah, that's true, because he's pretty chipper for being as old as he is.
He is an old man.
Chipper, you say. Let me find out how old he is, Granny. You're making fun of his age here.
Hey, he's as old as I am, I think.
No.
Oh, yes, he is, because he had a birthday not too long ago.
And you did as well, so you must be the same age?
Of course.
I had one a little while ago. Let's find out.
Think he's at least 75 that I know of.
I
think he's older.
Impossible to believe. Hold on.
Granny, how old are you?
How old am I?
You don't ask a woman how old she is.
Granny and I are friends.
I'm 79.
Jesus, he is 77 years old.
Who,
Wow.
Regis?
Yeah.
Yeah, I figured he was.
Regis Francis Xavier Philbin.
Wow.
Born in 1931, Granny.
How did you find that so fast?
The internet.
Oh, you just typed it in a hurry?
Yeah. I'm fast,
Okay.
Granny. I don't mess around.
I want to know who Klitz is. Klitts. He wants to know if I think he's cute.
He's just a random geek on the board.
Oh, okay. Well, anyway, he's cute.
Wow.
There you go.
And they wanted to know
Did I
if
see a
would
random
be
geek on the board?
If I wanted to be Vinny's granny. I thought I was everybody's granny.
That's right.
I like how I say one more and Granny just keeps going.
Sure.
Okay, I think I'm done. The rest of them I'll do for next week.
All right, that's right. We'll probably have people adding more to the mailbag next week as well.
Oh, okay, and if I missed anybody, I'll get you next week.
So you're just going to sit around and see what happens on the 4th of July?
Well, like I say, we're going to the casino.
You want to sing the Star Spangled Banner here before we go?
No, thank you.
Okay, I tried. All right, Granny. Well, I guess we'll talk to you next week.
Okay.
All right.
Bye.
Okay, bye. That was Granny, everybody. Oh, the board is going to explode because of the reference to Klitz as another geek on the board. That is not true. He's one of the founding members of Team Real Deal.
Oh, is he now?
Along with myself and the Cancer.
I understand that carries a lot of weight around this place.
Whenever I hear anyone's name on the board, I automatically think geek on the board. But Klitz is in fact the Real Deal. He's one of only 4 of us on the board that has been that is in the elite Real Deal crew here.
Who's the 4th? You said yourself, Cancer and Klitz.
Rabies.
I see.
He is the real deal. Let me tell you, it's a very exclusive club. Everybody, I have to have proof. I have to have proof that you are the real fucking deal. Because a lot of people say a lot of shit on the internet, as you're well aware, Vinny. And they are in fact a bunch of geeks writing shit on the internet. Those are your exact words, correct?
I think I called them jackoffs, but yes.
Maybe you did. But the point is, these 3 men, and of course myself, because it doesn't get any more real than me. These 3 men and myself guaranteed the real deal. Guaranteed.
Now, is this proof of their reality? Is that something you can share with us?
Well, I mean,
various confidential information.
I mean, certain things are confidential, but Klitz, of course, was you hear a lot of people talking a lot of things about women on the internet.
Oh, yes,
and there's never any. It's always like, I wouldn't dare put her picture on here. Blah blah blah. All this other bullshit. Klitz not only put photos up, but he had screen caps of himself humbling this woman, quite frankly.
Yes.
And And actually, someone got very upset that I used that term, but that was the term that was used by Klitz when posting these photographs. So anyway, the point was, regardless of the terminology used or what the photos were produced by this man to back up his claim.
That he was the real deal.
That he was not lying about this.
Yeah.
So he's the real deal. And the Cancer, of course. Cancer has provided some fucking great songs for us.
Didn't he make that one King of the Board song?
Yes, he did.
That was a phenomenal piece of work.
The real deal. He is the real fucking deal. And Rabies is this is stuff that I just cannot reveal here.
I believe you.
But believe me, Rabies is the real deal. I would not lie about this sort of stuff. So Granny,
Yeah.
you are on the line.
Okay.
He'd emailed me saying your phone was acting all funky.
Well, everybody's always saying, don't plug it in so much. Don't charge it up so much. So then I didn't charge it up that much, and then it quit on me.
Who was telling you not to plug your phone in all the time?
My brother.
Isn't he like 80?
Well, I used to just, every time I come in the house, I'd just plug it in and leave it, plugged in when I wasn't using it. And if it goes out, which it might be doing right now, are you there?
Yeah.
Oh.
Can't you plug it in when you talk to us?
Huh?
Can't you plug it in when you talk to us?
Well, it's supposed to be all charged up now. It said charged up, but it's not lighting. I mean, the light's not on.
What light?
Isn't there supposed to be a light on when you're talking?
I don't know what kind of phone you have, Granny. Is there normally a light on when you're talking?
Never mind. Let's just keep it working.
You've killed Vince.
Why? Wait till I have a question for him.
Oh, boy.
What now?
Let's get right into it, then. He's on the hot seat tonight.
I hated today, Granny.
Lance Storm wants to kill him, Granny.
He does.
Uh-oh. How come?
Because he didn't do a show last night. He was out gallivanting.
Oh, I listened to 2 of your shows last night. One with Lance and one with Dave.
Yeah?
In a row.
Good God, Granny. You had nothing to do.
Wild times.
There's nothing on TV, so you're the next best thing.
That's undoubtedly true.
Now, there's a tagline. When there's nothing on TV, you need this site.
You're the next best thing. All right, Granny, put Vince on the hot seat. I want to hear this.
Well, first I've got quite a story I've had a couple of weeks you wouldn't believe.
Teasing my question. Okay.
Okay, go ahead.
I'll get to you, Vince, in a minute. Okay.
I'm sorry. Go ahead.
2 weeks ago, I had lunch with a gal I hadn't seen for 35 years.
Wow.
And then a couple of days later, a friend of mine from Sweet Home, Oregon, that used to be my neighbor, called, and she came up to spend the day.
Sweet Home, Oregon?
Uh-huh.
Wow. Okay.
I'm actually more impressed by the friend you've not seen for 35 years. Brian, you and I have not been alive for 35 years.
No. I thought Sweet Home was in Alabama.
No, it's in Oregon.
Okay, thanks, Granny. Go on.
Okay, and then I went to computer classes, and remember my printer wasn't working, so I went to computer classes, and I came home, and I fixed my printer, but I don't know how I did it.
That doesn't matter then. You fixed it.
These are some great classes you went to.
The guy didn't help me one bit. I just came home and
plugged it in and,
restarted it.
I just did something and it worked.
Wow. Hit the print button, maybe?
So now I've got my picture.
Well, good job, Granny. You finally got your Vegas picture after all these years.
Yeah, and next year I'm going to bring it with me so everybody that's there can sign it.
Really? Well, what if you have a whole new crew that wasn't there this year and they want to take a new picture?
Well, then we'll have to take it to next year.
Okay. Well, sounds good. Look at Granny already making plans for next year.
Of course she is.
Oh, sure.
All right. What else happened in your life, Granny?
And then Wednesday, Sylvia and I went to play pool, and we stayed for lunch, and then I went to my computer classes. And then the next day, Val and Nikki and the boys, first we were going to go over to Edmonds just to the park, and then Nikki decided she wanted the boys to have a ferry boat ride. So we went clear over to Kingston.
Wow.
Had lunch and went to a park over there. I got home at 5 o'clock.
What craziness, Granny. What a life you lead.
Well, that ain't half it. Then this morning, I thought we were just going to go garage selling. We usually go garage selling and go to lunch, and that's the day. But today they decided they were going to go to the park, and I didn't know it. And so we got home at 3 o'clock, and I was supposed to meet Sylvia and Cheryl at the park, music in the park at 5 o'clock. So
everyone got all this so far?
Huh?
I'm just making sure everybody's following.
So I got to the park at 5 o'clock, and it was so hot. But anyway, and then we decided we were going to sit way down below in front. Well, what happened was all these dumb people stood in front of us, so we couldn't even see them.
Ridiculous.
So I went up the steps and stood clear up at the top so I could look down and watch. And then when he went by after he
this
left...
This is the Elvis impersonator, I presume.
When he was leaving, I got to shake his hand.
Is this the Elvis impersonator?
Yeah, the one I like.
Okay.
So that was that.
Wow. Well, at least you got to shake the hand of a fake Elvis.
Well, not only that, I bought a picture of him and he had him autograph it for me.
Well, how about that? Now, did he sign it Elvis or his real name?
No, his real name's Danny Vernon.
Oh, wow, you got an autograph of Danny Vernon.
Yeah, but he looks like Elvis. He thinks like Elvis.
That's pretty cool then, I guess. Sometimes when Vince combs his hair, he looks a little like Elvis.
That could
Not
be.
enough.
All right, now, Granny, it's a very wild life you've led the last couple of weeks, but we must now get to the question you have for Vinny. Let's put him on the hot seat.
Okay, somebody called and asked me.
Somebody called you on the telephone.
Oh, wait, stop. Someone
No,
called you?
I'm not called, but I'm on the thing. Anyway.
Emailed you?
I'm kind of dinging because I'm really tired.
Okay. Sorry, Granny. Go ahead.
Anyway, they wanted to know what I thought of Vinny when I first met him, and if I remember when I met him, and if I have changed my opinion of him.
So I have a stalker who has now moved on to harassing you.
So now I have a question for you, Vinny. Do you remember the first time you met me?
I remember the first time I was at your house. I don't remember if that's the first time I met you or not. But it was always very strange to me to know that Bryan actually had a real family.
Really?
Yes. So we went over to your house, and you and Terry were there, and it's a very nice house, and you were very friendly people. I think the first time I met you, I think it was actually at Top Food or something. We all went for lunch.
Oh, really? I kind of thought it was at down in Tacoma at the wrestling.
Oh, you know what? It probably was.
That probably was.
I probably
actually.
didn't either. I think that the time at Top Foods may have just been the first time I hung out with you in a non-wrestling environment, which is always strange.
Sure.
Okay, and then I was telling the girls today, I thought you were so cute in that little silver outfit that you wore with the hat when you were still a wrestler.
Back in the day.
The gold velour jumpsuit, yes.
Yeah.
I was cute.
That was cute.
He looked like a big teddy bear.
It was cute.
Thank you. I've been called worse. I will accept cute.
That's yes.
Okay, now, Bryan, here's one for you.
Now, I don't like to answer any questions, Grandma.
Well, no, I'm not. Somebody wanted to know if I changed your diaper when you were little.
God, I hope not.
What a question.
Oh, Granny, we don't need to go into this one.
Well, no, wait a minute. I took care of you when you were little while your mom was working.
True.
And I didn't have a crib for you, so I kind of put a little mattress on the floor in the closet. And that's where you slept, because I didn't want you falling off of anything. And your mom, to this day, still picks on me about it.
Well, that explains a lot, quite frankly.
I was going to say, since you didn't have a crib, you put him on a dog collar or something, but you actually got darker.
Yeah.
More distressing.
Well, better the closet than, the cellar.
Sure. Or just outside the deck.
Well, Granny, if it makes Vince feel any better, I don't remember the first time I met you either.
And besides that, the closet door was open, so, it was a nice little bed for you.
The closet door was open.
I'm sure if you put a baby on a mattress in the closet, he'd be fine.
Now, is that
you just check on him every 3 or 4 hours.
Is that the same closet that all the newsletters are in now?
No.
This closet was much smaller than that.
I was going to say.
Much
What
darker.
closet was this, Granny? I've been to your house a million times. What closet was I in?
It was in Terry's room.
Really? There's a closet in there that I fit in?
Yeah. Well, there's a big closet in there.
The one with the sliding doors?
Yeah.
That ain't that big.
Well, it's big enough for a little guy.
You are a little guy.
So is a microwave oven. What a horrible thing to say. I didn't mean that the way it came out, everybody. I was just thinking of a small, confined space. Oh, God. So anyway, Granny.
Okay, somebody wanted to know where I was when Kennedy got killed, and I was at the bowling alley. I think I told this before.
That does sound familiar.
So you weren't in Dealey Plaza?
I was at the bowling alley after a bowling league.
All right, well, that's good.
First heard about it.
That's good. Just wanted to make sure you were. Where were you on the moon landing?
I don't remember that too well. I can't
just
remember.
Another Tuesday.
I just know we were living out on the South End.
Well, it was 1969. Did you watch it as it happened?
I can't remember.
Well, that's probably a no then, I would guess.
I knew it was being done, but at the time, I don't really remember that much.
It wasn't really a big deal that man left Earth.
Huh?
It wasn't really a big deal that man left Earth.
Oh, yeah, it was a great deal.
A man walked on the moon.
But I don't remember where it was or how I heard about it, though.
Wow, okay. Well, how about when the Titanic sank?
You gotta be kidding. I wasn't around.
What about when Lincoln was shot?
All right, we're joking.
Thanks a lot.
We're
I'm
joking,
teasing
Granny.
you,
We're
Granny.
joking. Vinny's trying to get revenge for the hot seat. He's a jerk. All right, next one.
Okay. Somebody wanted to know if the drunkest I ever was.
Oh,
I'd rather not answer that question.
You already did. It was the night you went to Tijuana with Terry.
Not really. It was another time when I was taking Valium and I drank straight gin with it.
Granny!
Wow!
Jesus!
Well, I will say this. That would get me drunk, too.
What? Granny, what are you taking pills and drinking for? That's how wrestlers die.
Well, it's kind of a stressful time in my life.
You
And
don't say.
yeah, so,
Was this before or after you mixed Valium and gin?
what was?
The stress.
During.
During, I see, okay.
Okay, what's next?
They wanted to know if I like Irish people. Why wouldn't I? I like their Irish brogue.
There you go.
Good. Next.
Now, let me see what's...
How do you feel about, say, Riverdance?
Oh, they wanted to know if there was anybody at the deal in Vegas that I thought was weird.
That you thought was weird.
Besides
Yeah.
all of them?
I liked everybody I met there, and they're all such nice people, and I hope to see them again next year.
That was a very political answer.
And I said I was going to bring the picture so everybody can sign it.
That's right, yeah. All right, let's do one more.
One more?
All right, we'll do
Is that
two
all?
more. Two more, Granny.
Oh, they wanted to know what I thought of Canada, and I've been to Canada a few times. In fact, one time we were in Victoria, and we stayed at the Empress.
Wow.
That's a very fancy place. I did not stay there, but I was in Victoria about, 3 months ago.
Yeah, we stayed in one
You
of the
didn't bring
suites.
back any 222s?
I didn't say that.
All right, go ahead, Granny.
I said we stayed at one of the suites at the Empress, and at the time it was only $50 a night.
My God.
Wow.
Yeah.
How about that? All right, one more.
No, I got. Wait, let me see what much I haven't heard.
Is that English?
They want to know if I watched cartoons when I was a kid. We didn't have a TV until I was married and had a kid of my own.
Well,
Did you watch cartoons then?
So there's no. I suppose I did with Terry when he was little.
Yeah. Donald Duck?
Can't remember too many.
Daffy Duck?
20 years ago.
Too many years ago. Well, what can you say, Granny? Just life goes on.
I guess so. I'm going to have to slow down or I'm going to be... I'm just so tired.
Granny, you got to keep going or you're going to be...
Oh, I know. I enjoy everything I'm doing. It's a lot of fun, but I just get wore out once in a while.
Well, you got to get some rest, Granny. You don't sleep enough.
Oh, and I emailed Rodney and thanked him again for the Black Angus because Nikki and I went last Saturday.
I know you went when I was in Vegas, so I couldn't go. That was...
I wasn't inviting you anyway.
Burn!
Why is my sister invited and not me?
Well, because she took care of my cat while I was in Vegas.
I took care of you when we were in Vegas.
Well, I've got a Black Angus for a $37 for two people, which is pretty good.
That is pretty good. All right, Granny. We'll argue about this another day. All right. Well, that's going to do it for here, and be prepared for next Thursday when we're back on our regular schedule.
All righty.
All right.
Okay.
Adios.
Bye, everybody.
Goodbye. Oh, Granny. Well, there you go.
Valium and gin.
What in the hell is going on? That is nuttiness.
That is not normal.
No.
And I think she would agree, not healthy.
Probably not healthy. A rough time in my life, she said.
A stressful time.
Stressful time. Jiminy Christmas. Granny.
Yes?
You... What was that?
Huh?
You're on the line.
Is it Thursday already?
I'm afraid it's Thursday already, Grammy.
Now get to work.
Yeah. What have you been doing this week?
Oh, let me think. I tore, next time if you come over on Tuesday, you might not be able to get in my house because I tore the porch down.
Yeah.
You tore the porch down.
Vince, you've seen the porch at Granny's house, haven't you?
I've in one of our videos for the battle, I was on this porch.
Yeah, she's taking this porch apart by herself and building a new one.
That's amazing.
Almost 80.
Granny, you are made for some hardy stock.
And then the other question, I guess I can ask you this on the air as well. I was like, okay, so That's great. You're tearing the porch apart and you're building a new one, but when you've torn it apart, how are you getting into the house?
Well, I've got it so I put a board across there. I have to be very careful.
I was hoping the answer would be a rope she had to climb.
I'm more stunned that she's created a balance beam that she's got to walk across. Granny, you just had a hip replacement surgery a couple years back. Is this the safest thing to do?
Oh, I can be careful.
Now, Granny, I've been going to that house now for 34 years, and I mean,
Is there a problem with the old porch?
Yeah, that porch has always been there.
Well, you're lucky you didn't fall through. Well, see, the lumber underneath got so rotten, and then I put some new boards over the top, and then they started going, so I had two layers of stuff that I had to peel off.
So if I stepped in this porch, it would have just immediately shattered.
Well, today I almost went through one piece, but I was careful.
Oh, Granny, I don't want to get the call someday that we found Granny amidst rubble.
Well, I don't think so. I was sitting here tonight figuring out what kind of lumber I needed, so I can get it at a discount where Lynn works.
Now, did you build the first porch?
No, the thing was, before we moved the mobile home, remember it was over at the other place?
Yeah.
The porch was on it then, and then when we moved over here, the porch came with it. So that porch is about 30 years old.
Well, I mean, so now you were confident you can build a porch.
I'm pretty confident. If I can't, my brother will help me.
So,
please tell me he's your older brother.
Huh? No, he's a younger brother.
Okay.
Now, I am amused that you started tearing your porch apart and building a new one before making sure you could actually build it.
Well, if I can always get help, but I have always been able to do it, so I don't have any, I feel like I can accomplish it.
Now, what's the last major woodworking or construction project you undertook?
Birdhouse.
Well, I built a deck out in back.
Oh, well, see, that's like the same thing.
Actually, that's right. You did build that deck.
Yeah, and that was about 2 or 3 weeks after I recovered from my hip surgery.
Okay, she'll be fine.
This woman is so much tougher than you, Vince.
Hell yeah.
I can't necessarily say myself, because I'm a tough one myself, but...
Well, I was about to say this woman has precious DNA, we should clone her. And then I remembered, wait, she already has like many children and grandchildren and great-grandchildren.
That's right, I am of this hardy stock.
That's true. It's 1/8 of you.
So how long do you expect this project to take, Granny?
See, Wednesday, Lynn's birthday Sunday. It'd be nice if you emailed her a happy birthday.
Yeah, Brian.
I'll do that, yeah.
Anyway, so Wednesday, my brother's coming up, so we're going to take her to lunch.
That's nice.
And then she's going to take my estimate, or give me an estimate on what the lumber's going to cost to fix it.
Now this porch is, for everyone who's listening to this, it's really not all that big. It's 5 feet by 3 feet by...
No, it's about 10 feet long and only about 36 inches wide.
10 feet long?
Uh-huh.
Is the one right now 10 feet long?
Well, no, the one right now is 8, but I'm going to add a couple feet.
Oh, yeah, that's important that you add a couple feet to this new porch.
Well, if you're going to make a new one, it should be better.
Yeah?
Yeah, and the steps are going to be a little bigger. My brother says I should build a ramp because he knows I'm going to have to need a wheelchair.
I find that impossible.
Well,
to believe,
maybe when the day comes, you can just build your own ramp.
I probably could.
I actually think Granny, if the day ever comes where she needs a wheelchair to get around, I think she'll be able to just go upstairs in it.
Probably. She'll probably put the wheelchair on her.
Well, if I ever have to be in a wheelchair, I'm going to go over the edge of a cliff and push myself over.
Let's.
That's the spirit.
Oh, Granny. Now, let me get this straight though. You're almost 80 years old, and so you're building a porch with bigger steps?
Yeah. I mean wider.
Okay. Okay. All right. What else is going on, Granny?
Well, I saw that we went to Mukilteo this morning, and it was cold. It was so cold.
It was 70.
Well, I know, but we were by the water, and the wind was blowing, and it was cold.
When you say morning, like, are we talking 5 a.m.?
Oh, no, we didn't get there till almost noon.
I see. Okay.
Granny's been spoiled by this 80-degree weather.
Well, I mean, it was really cold this morning.
Yeah, I guess.
It didn't hardly warm up at all today.
Yeah, it was a chilly day today. I will say that. It was a chilly day. Now, I know you told me on think it was Tuesday, you said be prepared for 108 degrees this weekend. It ain't hitting above 90, Granny.
Well, I heard it was 102 or 103, but...
I have no idea where you guys heard that, because I immediately checked the weather report, and it never said anywhere it was going to be that hot. Thank God.
I was in a store the other day, and I heard one of the gals go over to the other girl and say, it's going to be 103 degrees. I'm glad I'm not working that day.
Well, that is some rock-solid evidence you have there.
I was going to say, you can watch the weather report, and it said you heard two ladies talking about it in the store.
Well, you know, the news media, though, every one of them is different, and they whatever is the worst, that's what they want to put on there. And then some areas, like south further, it gets hotter than up here. So if it's 90 down there, further south, like Olympia and stuff like that, it might not be that hot up here.
Sure, I understand. All right, Granny, now let's do some of the mailbag questions here. Oh, one more thing very quickly before we get into your little mailbag. I saw the picture of the Elvis impersonator that you had signed.
Yeah.
Quite the handsome man.
Oh, he's a sweetie.
I'm glad you enjoyed that. It's too bad we couldn't make it. What's in Music in the Park this Friday?
It's a Western band.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
So they're going to play, I don't know.
Western music.
Country and Western?
Mm-hmm.
Mm-hmm.
That sounds exciting.
Maybe they'll do The Gambler.
Maybe.
I don't think so.
Okay.
All right, I'll stop suggesting things then.
The only bad thing about last weekend was we sat down lower so we could be closer, and then everybody crowded in front of us to dance and watch him, and we couldn't even see him. So I just left and went clear up to the top and stood by the top railing. So. And when he went by, I got to shake his hand.
Granny, you should have gone down there and danced.
Oh, yeah, right.
Okay. Let's do the mailbag.
Oh, okay, let's see.
She sounds just like Dave when she does this.
Somebody asked me what I think of Denmark. I mean, Denmark sounds like a nice country, but I don't know much about any of those foreign countries.
Those foreign lands? I know.
Yeah. And they asked me about if I like to watch Price is Right. Well, I don't watch it anymore because I started watching that Cash Cab. Have you ever seen that one?
I've seen that show.
Cash Cab? I have no idea what you're talking about.
Well, when I was down in Vegas in my room, I watched it then, and I came home and found out that they have it here, and I think it's on almost 2 hours. And it's you get in the cab, and he asks you a bunch of questions, and like if you're going in New York, they take a cab and go a long ways, you know, like 40 blocks and stuff, and all the way he asks different questions, and if they answer all the questions by the end of the line, they get a whole bunch of money.
Really?
And if they get the questions wrong...
They have to get 3 strikes, they're out.
They get kicked out of the cab.
They kick them right out there. They don't even take them to the end of the line, but they don't have to pay for the part that they went.
Cash Cab.
Yeah, it's on Channel 8 at... I think it starts at
Channel 8, everybody.
Channel 8 at 6, I think.
Channel 8 at 6, everybody. You can watch Cash Cab.
Yeah,
what a great name for a show, by the way.
and another thing that was a coincidence, the other day when I was answering this, but one about Price is Right, it said, which one of the things did you like the best? And I said, I like the mountain climber, and I heard Bryan say that on his show, that was his favorite.
Yeah, that's...
mountain climber?
Well, realistically, aside from when they spun the wheel, that's the only thing I remember about that show was the mountain climber.
My favorite minigame was always Plinko.
Yeah, I like that one,
too. What the heck's Plinko?
It's the one where they get a number of like little discs, and they drop them at the top of this pegboard, and the thing bounces around and bounces off all the pegs as it goes down, and then there's different slots at the bottom that are different amounts of money.
I see.
Yes.
I see. Yeah, I have no memory of that show. Well, Granny, what were some of the other games on that show? Because I can only remember the mountain climber.
Oh, gosh, I haven't watched for quite a while. Can't think of it anymore.
There was one where you had to sink a golf putt.
I remember that,
Oh, yeah.
And because Bob
and
Woodward always showed how it was done.
Where the cards, and you picked up a card, and you tried to win a car.
Okay.
Vaguely.
Like an ace would be 10, and you know, and
yeah.
you had to guess before the certain...
Are you sure you're not thinking of Card Sharks?
Yeah.
Okay.
All right, what's next?
Okay. This one person wanted to know if I found the right guy, if I'd ever get married again. Absolutely not.
Well, Granny, if it was the right guy, it should be absolutely yes.
There ain't no right guy out there for me.
All right, well, that settles that then.
I'm kind of a snob, really.
I always thought the right guy would be Vinny or Buddy.
Oh, they're pretty young for me.
Well, that's true. Vinny looks much older, though.
I don't think so.
He could pass for 60.
Right now, actually, I could pass for the late 70s.
Oh, geez.
Well, you had a lot of food tonight, Granny.
It's been a rough evening.
Yeah.
Oh, how you doing on the job hunting?
Thanks for asking. Actually, the past, 2 months, I've been working substantially more than full-time. I found a freelance project. Everyone go to Football Outsiders, the Football Outsiders Almanac 2009, now available in PDF and book form.
Wow.
I don't think so.
You probably would not enjoy it, Granny, but you should buy one anyway because you like me.
Yeah.
But yes, I was...
So you're working full-time?
Well, I was. The book's done now.
Oh, the book's done.
So
okay.
I have some other related projects I may be able to pick up on, but I was working a lot for the past month, really.
I'm sure you waited till the very last minute and then had to go full-time.
Oh, do you get royalties for your book?
I got paid by the hour.
Oh, by the hour.
But yes.
Nowadays, that's significantly better than royalties.
It is actually, yes.
Let me tell you.
I'm fine.
All right, Granny, go on.
Another one, they wanted to know how Sylvia's doing with her two daughters, and she's doing just fine now. She's talking to both of them, so she's happy.
Oh, that's good.
Yeah, and we want to play, what is that? Anyway, we got together on Wednesday and had lunch and played pool, and she beat me.
Pool. You forgot pool.
Yeah, I forgot it. It just went blank.
Well, that happens. You get a little older.
I guess
Granny,
so.
if you keep getting older and start forgetting things, these shows could be really...
entertaining.
I guess in a perverse sort of way, entertaining.
Well, I could maybe forget that my porch is tore apart and just walk out there, too.
Well, hopefully you don't do that, Granny. Don't go feed the cat at 3 a.m.
I'm just getting ready to let her in.
Now, how did the cat get in and the porch is gone?
There's enough there for her to get in.
She can jump at 23 years old.
I suppose if Granny can navigate the walk beam, the cat can as well?
Yeah, probably. Although this cat in human years is probably significantly older than Granny.
I see.
All right, go ahead, Granny.
She's still going strong, though.
I know,
okay.
It's amazing.
Somebody wanted to know if I ever tried to match you up with any girl.
You knew better.
And the answer is no, because you wouldn't like anybody I'd pick because I'm too old-fashioned.
You might, in fact, pick someone 80.
Oh, I wanted to tell you, I dreamt the other night that you're going with somebody that was 62.
Huh.
Yeah.
Dream or premonition?
It was crazy.
Yeah, that's the wrong way.
I guess.
All right, what's next?
Okay, where am I? I haven't got much lights on here.
Oh.
Are you saving power?
Oh, they wanted to know when I first flew on a plane. And, gosh, I can't remember.
Shortly after they were invented, I would guess.
I was going to say, was it to battle the Red Baron?
Yeah, I was on the plane and went across the ocean the first time.
Wow.
All right, then. That's pretty cool.
How about that?
No, I think the first time was when I went to Reno. We used to go to Reno quite often.
Not as exotic, but still pretty good.
Do you have a year in...
Huh?
Do you remember when that was?
70s, 80s?
Oh, wait a minute. Let's see. It must have been probably in the 70s.
70s,
All right,
wow.
then.
Yeah.
All right, let's do two more, Granny.
Somebody wanted to know if I went up Space Mountain. No. But I've been to Disneyland so many times I got tired of it.
What's your favorite ride at Disneyland?
I like the Small World myself.
That's not surprising.
I don't know what that one is.
You don't?
No, Small World?
Should we sing the song for him, Granny?
Underground.
I know the song, you geek. I just don't know the ride.
You go on a boat and you watch robotic children sing that song for hours and hours and hours.
That sounds
Yes, and I
terrible.
brought a little tape back for Bryan and Nikki one time.
Oh, I bet I love that.
Oh, your mom didn't like it too well. I think she threw it out or something.
How can that be?
My parents were awesome.
Oh, somebody wanted to know what I think of you like in Alicia Fox.
Oh, God.
I don't care who you like.
That's right. Granny doesn't care.
Fine with me.
Granny's cool that way. All right, one more, Granny.
More important things to worry about, like the porch.
Somebody asked me a racial question, and I am not answering anymore.
Wise woman.
Because I'm not going to have them take it the wrong way and make a big deal out of it.
To bring this full circle, say something bad about the Danish.
Actually, you know what's funny is we had Terry Funk on the show yesterday, and
I think I listened to that tonight.
Yeah, he used the term wetback.
Oops.
And, of course, you think there was any controversy about that? No, of course not, because he's not my grandparent.
Oh, I see.
Was he referring to you?
I don't know. I have no idea what he was talking about.
He's just being Terry Funk.
I have no idea. He was being Terry Funk, telling a Terry Funk story, and he mentioned something about wetbacks coming over here. And he just kept going, and I was like, what in the fuck is he talking about?
He was being Terry Funk.
Geez, there was nothing wrong with that, I don't think.
I needed a Funk to English translator. All right, Granny, let's do the last one here, which I think we've
last one.
done
They wanted
4
to
times.
know how long you had to stay in the closet. I knew I would get a big one out of that one.
Troll.
They wanted to know how long you had to sleep in the closet.
And how long before I came out?
All I can say is you slept in there so as long as you didn't fall off the bed.
So when you heard that's when it was time to get me out of there?
Yep.
Oh.
When you started getting up out of it yourself and walk away, that was time to quit.
When you fought for freedom, when you escaped the chains.
You woke up and said, "What am I doing in the closet?"
Listen to you two. That is all we've got time for today.
Oh, okay.
All right, Granny. Well, prepare some new material for next week.
Okay, and some people wrote in, which I didn't even have to ask for, so I appreciate that.
Oh, that's really good. Well, we'll get some more for next week and have some more fun here.
Okay.
All right, have a good week.
Tomorrow night?
I'll try and make it.
Okay.
Okay.
Bye-bye.
Bye-bye. Crazy woman.
What am I doing in the closet? That's your new catchphrase.
Well, after a while, you start wondering.
Hey, what am I doing in this closet?
How old would I have been, like 8, when I suddenly asked this question? Jesus. I know exactly what closet she's talking about, and there's no room in there. No room.
You're a small person.
Not that small. All right. I wouldn't put the cat in that closet.
You're bigger than a cat.
Cruel and unusual punishment. Granny, you're on the air.
All right.
You sound so excited this week.
I'm too hot to speak.
Granny, you're the only person I know that actually has air conditioning.
I know, and I feel guilty. I'm having so much fun.
So you're too hot to speak, but you're having fun.
Well, I just said that.
You just said that to make us feel worse since we're all sweating here in this room together?
Probably.
I see.
offered you a fan.
A fan.
Fans help, dude.
Yeah. I'll pass on the fan. I just want some cool air. How about that?
Oh, okay. It's supposed to be cooler tomorrow.
It's cool enough right now, I noticed. Now, Granny jumped the gun yesterday, and at midnight I get an email, of course in all capital letters, as Granny is wont to do.
I knew you would do this.
Yeah, and she's like, "Are you calling me tonight?" And, of course, I had to alert her that it was, in fact, Wednesday and not Thursday. And Granny thought the heat was getting to her. It's been hot here, Granny.
Yeah, even with the air, it's not really that cool,
Think about this, Granny. Think of how long you've been alive. It's never been hotter than it was yesterday.
Yeah, but I'm from Montana, and it used to get pretty hot back there.
Well, sure, but not around here. It's never been that hot.
No, that's really something.
Granny, give us... Oh, go ahead.
The thing of it now is, everybody's knows what it's like to be 103, and then when it gets down into the 80s, then everybody's going to say, "Hey, this is great."
Well, I said it was great when it was in the 80s originally.
See how long that lasts.
Don't get me wrong.
Before that, everybody said, "Oh, 80 is hot," so now
those
they're
people just
think
bitching.
80 is just right.
Just whiners.
We are a whiny people around these parts.
No, I disagree. You never heard me crying about 80.
I didn't mean every single person.
There's a lot of
royal we.
There are a lot of whiny people in this area. Don't get me wrong. There's plenty of them, especially when it rains and they're,
Yeah.
They get wet and so they have to slow down drastically in traffic. Granny, I know you were working on your deck, and I told everyone the story of the state of your deck.
I listened to your show. I heard what you said.
Yeah, how's the deck looking right now?
Well, it's still the same, but I found out that they can't, where my daughter works, they can't cut the boards into the size I want, so it kind of put a damper on me doing it myself because I wouldn't have any way to cut the boards. So her boyfriend, Don, offered to do it for me, so he's going to build the porch for me.
That's awfully nice of him. Now, why couldn't they cut the boards in the size you wanted?
Well, because it's her company's doing it, and they don't, they don't want to cut it extra.
So they won't customize the length of the...
Yeah, she doesn't want to put them to that, you know what I mean.
I see.
They should just... So I guess the boards they were going to cut for you were a certain length.
Yeah, well, I wanted 3-footers, and she said that they only come in like 12 and 16.
Well, that's more then.
So you didn't just want to make a giant porch.
Well, I wanted to cut a bunch of little ones, and so I'd have to have a saw to do that with. So.
But a 14-foot porch is too much for you.
Yeah, but I needed the shorter boards. I need the 3-footers.
So like a 14-foot porch would be too big for you.
No, I'm going to have it 12-foot at least.
You see, Ryan.
Wait, so you are going to have a 12-foot porch.
Right, but she wants it with shorter boards, so it'll look nicer.
Well, the long way it's going to be that way, but the walking across, like where I had the boards where you walked across, that's only 3 feet, and I have to have a whole bunch of those.
I see. All right, I still have no idea what you're talking about, but I'll just go along with it. Now, we did have people telling me that I should be a good grandson and come over and help you build the porch, and I'd just like you to confirm, Granny, that if I helped you build the porch, there's a very good chance somebody would die.
That's right. That is definitely right.
Okay. Just wanted to get that out there for everybody. I'm not a handyman, okay? There are a lot of things I'm good at, and building stuff is not one of them.
Well, you're like like little Carlos. He wanted to build something, and so I cut out a birdhouse for him, and I thought maybe he could come in over and put it together. Well, he took a board and he pounded a couple of nails, and he was done.
Sounds exactly like me, actually.
Did it attract birds?
So the birdhouse is sitting out there, hasn't been put together.
I'm shocked. Cliffy probably would put that thing together.
No, I'm going to do it for him so he can have it and feed the birds.
Well, that's very nice, Granny. Now, I know you had some historical stuff you wanted to chat about today.
Yeah, I'm going to give you a history test.
A history test?
Yeah, and this goes back to 1955.
Oh, boy.
Well, that's not fair. That's before we were born.
Yeah.
We should not be expected to know
these
things.
I know, but that's
now, is it multiple choice, or do we just have to get the answer, or is this in Jeopardy form?
Just, what was the minimum wage then, an hour?
God. 75 cents.
No, that was $1.
Oh, wow, I undercut it. Okay.
And how much was gas a gallon?
Free.
Now, gas, I'll bet, was 35 cents a gallon.
A little too high. It was 29 cents.
Oh. I'm getting pretty good here, though, you have to admit. Go on.
Okay, and how much were the stamps?
Stamps in 19 what?
55.
Okay, based on how fast they're going up, I'd say they were negative 50 cents a stamp.
Yep, there were only 10 cents a stamp, and the postcards were 3.
Really? Wow. That's actually, I wouldn't expect it to be that high. That's kind of surprising, actually.
And can you guess how much a new car was?
$6,000.
$2,000.
Oh, my God.
Yeah, and guess how much a baseball player got for a year?
A baseball player in 1955?
Mm-hmm.
$28,000.
There, you're way off on that one. It's $75,000.
Really?
Nowadays, they're getting millions.
I know. Well, I just remembered how much a lot of the wrestlers in the 40s and 50s and 60s, there were guys that played pro football, and in the off season they would be professional wrestlers because they made more money professional wrestling than football.
Possible. Okay, and how much were the hospital rooms per day?
I don't even know how much they are per day now.
Now they're like $200 or $300.
I'd say $50 a day.
How much?
50.
It's 35.
Oh.
Okay, I got 3 more here.
All right.
How much were haircuts?
How much were haircuts?
Mm-hmm.
2 bits.
I was going to say a dime.
No, let's see, 2 bits is what? 50 cents?
I think that was it, yeah.
We don't even know the conversion.
Vince got that one.
A 50-cent haircut. Well, I think Vince is sporting one of those right now, actually.
It's entirely possible.
Go on.
Okay, and how much were cigarettes a pack?
That reminds me, the reason I made that joke was because one day, Buddy used to always go to the cheap barber. And one day, I wanted my hair cut short, and I said, Buddy, where can I go to get a $5 haircut? And he goes, you tell me.
Huh?
All right, anyway.
So, Pete.
I must have missed the first part or something. Anyway, how much were cigarettes a pack?
Oh, God. $1.
25 cents a pack.
Oh, my God. Back in the day, everybody.
Yeah.
Back in the day. Where did you learn these facts?
Somebody emailed that to me just the other day, so that's why I was sure that it was 1955.
I'll bet some from the board lying to try and make me look like a fool.
No.
Any more?
You want some more? How much were hamburgers?
How much were hamburgers? Those were a dime. 15 cents.
Dime was right.
Oh, that's right. The fat guy overestimated.
I value them more than you do.
And these aren't any more questions, but like my mom worked for $10 a week, and we rented the house for $10 a month.
$10 a month?
And a doctor only charged $100 for the whole childbirth thing, from the start to the finish.
How much do they charge now?
Oh gosh, are you kidding? It maybe costs $2,000-$3,000 or more now.
Oh, everybody just.
That plan's out the window, isn't it?
Yeah, we'll wait on that one. All right, Granny. And I'm not talking to me and Vinny. Go on.
Okay, before we start with this, all I did this week was put question marks, and I got quite a few questions, which turned out pretty good.
That's good. We need to make a special email address for you that people can send their questions to.
Huh?
Yeah, okay, go ahead. Questions.
I don't want to give out my email.
No, we'd have a special one for you. We'd make up a new one.
Oh, okay, whatever.
Like
ask Granny at
WrestlingObserver.com. I bet I could set that up with nails. We'll think about that one. Okay, Granny, go ahead.
Before it gets started, you're going to bring that picture. I heard that somebody sent me a picture.
Here we go. Well, I do have a picture for you, Granny. I'll bring it over.
I just saved it from a fire, actually.
Maybe tomorrow. We what?
I just saved it from a fire. Isn't that
Oh, that's right. Yeah. Yeah, we'll bring it over maybe today to Music in the Park tomorrow, Granny.
I'm not sure. I'm not sure. Well, I might be there if it's not too hot.
It's not going to be too hot.
Anyway, one question they asked me was what I thought of Reagan taking down the Berlin Wall.
Sure.
That was a good thing, but did you guys know that Reagan had Alzheimer's his whole second term?
People would argue part of the first as well, I'm sure.
I heard that news, and I was not stunned.
Yeah.
Yeah, can you imagine that?
Yeah, well.
Yes.
Well, I won't make the comment. Go ahead.
Okay, and let's see. The one question they asked me was, did I ever spank you when you were little?
Of course not.
No, I didn't, because your mom didn't believe in spanking.
Plus,
I went straight to the belt.
I was locked in the closet the whole time.
Had to.
That's right, instead of...
She
we'll go back into that one.
Cackles at the thought of me being in that closet.
Yeah, well, and they wanted to know what, if I do any gambling, and what, I like the slot machines, and I'm pretty good at picking the horses.
They asked you if you do any gambling?
Yeah.
Did they ask if ducks swim? Was that one of the questions?
Oh, there was one about, they asked if I took any towels when I came home from Vegas.
Uh-oh. And?
Definitely not.
Oh.
Just the linens?
Never took a thing.
Steal some pillows, shove some of those in the...
I even left my glasses there, so I didn't take anything. I left things.
That's true, so maybe you should take some towels next time.
No, I don't want to. I've got enough towels.
Okay.
Okay, I got on the computer here so I can read some of these off, and it said, did Bryan ever have a girlfriend that you particularly were fond of?
Pass.
And, Bryan, you know who that was.
Yes, I do. Next question.
Okay, wait a minute, here's another one. Did anyone you know ever make a porn movie? Did you ever, Bryan?
No.
Oh, to be fair, not yet.
Well, there's still time, yes, but no, I did not, Granny. Now, Vinny might have.
Oh, okay.
No, buy it, but...
And it says...
Bears?
Can you make ends meet? Yeah, I do okay.
Yes, she does. She does all right. She
And
makes
it
ends
said-
meet when she builds a porch, too.
That's funny as if you know the other meaning of the term bear.
Yeah.
They said, do you have a competent tax and financial advisor? I don't need one. I don't even make enough to pay income tax.
Best answer.
But she is making ends meet.
And another one was, are you struggling with prescription drug costs? No, I don't take any pills.
That's right. Granny
gives them to us.
refuses to take pills.
And it said, are you getting medical care that you need? I don't need any.
Granny's fit as a fiddle.
These questions are awesome.
And then they want to know what I think of the universal health care thing that Congress is working on. And as far as I'm concerned, people are going to get ripped off on those ones.
Granny doesn't care. She's got Medicare.
Yeah, but then they might hurt that too. You never know.
I think you'll be all right, Granny.
Okay, and then I said, do you have air conditioning, which I just said I did.
That's right. Granny, you're the only person I know that has air conditioning.
Sylvia just got some.
Why are these old people figuring this out?
3 weeks ago.
My God. Oh, Craig does too, actually. Craig does too.
For.
Yeah, Craig does tuld In fact, wasn't there a time when Craig got air conditioning and then we went over, it was real hot and he didn't turn it on?
That sounds something like Craig would do.
Could have
Brian,
sworn.
you should have one because they're not very expensive.
Yeah, but Granny, it's like, it wasn't that hot today. I was sweating a little at the afternoon when I had to do the show. But the only day that I've really thought, my God, I need an air conditioner badly, was like yesterday when we set a world record for heat in Seattle. So it's not like I don't want to go out there and spend $300 for something I'm going to use 2 days out of the year. Otherwise, I ain't going to be making ends meet if I make purchases like that regularly.
Well, I use mine more than that, though.
Well, you're old.
Because I can't take the heat very well, so it works out real well for me.
All right. Let's do one more.
Another question they had, what are your thoughts on Hulk Hogan and all the stuff that's going on with him? I don't pay too much attention to any of those people.
No, why should you? We don't either, really.
But, and they said his daughter has an album that sold 3,000 in the first week.
Probably 3,000 in its entire lifetime, I would think, actually.
Well, how come I've never heard of her anywhere?
Well, Granny, I'm
not
sure
that talented.
there's a lot of musical acts today you probably haven't heard of.
That's true. I don't listen to hardly any of that stuff.
All right, Granny, one more here.
Okay, it says, does Granny remember Brian's Rabbit Valley?
My
rabbit.
what?
The rabbit?
Oh,
Bali.
the rabbit Bali.
Bali, did you have one?
Yeah, remember that rabbit?
No, I don't remember you ever having a rabbit.
We did a couple of when we did the YWF TV shows that you watched every week on tape. Sometimes her would have her pet rabbit when she did the show opening.
Oh, I can't remember that. I remember her coming out with you, but I can't remember the rabbit.
Yeah, we had a rabbit.
Ah.
Yeah, it was pretty cute, I gotta say. I don't know whatever happened to him, quite frankly.
Uh-oh, somebody probably had him for dinner.
May have. But, yeah. Well, Granny, that was a good segment here today, and like I said, I'm going to try and bring you the pictures tomorrow at Music in the Park.
Wait a minute, one more.
Oh, Jesus.
It says, has Granny ever been in a fight? And if so, did she win?
Granny's got to finish on an MMA note.
I don't remember ever hitting anybody in my life.
Well, think about it. Maybe you'll think of one next week.
You should have said you don't remember ever losing a fight.
Sure.
It was something true, but it sounded like you beat up hundreds of people.
Yeah.
Well, I think there's a few I missed from last week, but I'll catch up next time on it.
We'll catch up next week. Who's in Music in the Park tomorrow, Granny?
Oh, let me see here. Whoops. Fell out of my chair.
Very nonchalant about it.
Just kidding. Tomorrow is the 31st.
What a ribber.
Shambhala.
She fooled us.
Who?
3 Dog Night Review.
What? Oh, review. Okay.
Oh, wow.
I've actually thought 3 Dog Night may be performing at Music in the Park in Bothell.
Why would that shock you? Huey Lewis in the News was in Diamondback, Oregon, or wherever it was. All right.
On August the 28th, they're going to have Beatles songs.
Oh, that's perfect for you, Granny. All right, Granny. Well, listen, we got to let you go. I know you'd be on here all day, but we have to talk about Impact, and that show sucks, so it always takes us a while.
Oh, okay, so you can get off of here and rant and rave, huh?
Yeah, that's what we normally do.
Okay.
We may use some foul language.
Yeah, you know you don't like that, Granny, so we try.
Okay, I'm looking forward to seeing the picture and thank, who was it that sent it?
The Peach
Some
Machine
guy.
and Jen.
Oh, he said he was going to send that to me.
He did.
Thank you very much.
That's right, Granny, that's right.
Okay, so I'll see you tomorrow night.
All right, we'll talk to you next week.
Okay.
Okay.
Bye-bye.
Yeah, bye. How does this woman have so much life in her?
I have to tell a quick grandparent story.
Oh, no.
I know you don't want me to tell the story, but you will like this one. I had dinner with my grandpa today. He's 85, 80% deaf, maybe 90% deaf. Takes him about 15 seconds to stand up out of a chair, and he walks very slowly with a cane. And I'm walking him back to his room, and we're going very, very slowly down the hallway, and we pass another lady coming out the other way, and she was there visiting her mom, and we started talking. She says, "Oh, are you here with your dad?" She thought I was at least 60.
Things happen, Vinny.
I thought you'd appreciate that one.
Maybe she thought you were only 50.
She thought, perhaps my grandpa was just a late bloomer.
Maybe it's a 10-cent haircut.
That could be it.
I don't know what it is. I could give you a haircut. I'd only charge you a nickel.
Thanks.
It'd be a good one.
No, it wouldn't.
To the back!
Fuckers!